opportunity. He's going to be up against a young ruckman in Dante Visentini, so it'll be fascinating to see how he goes.
Yeah, it's a good opportunity for him on debut. He's a big, strapping lad, as you said. He's forming the VFL. The Giants VFL team are flying. He's been going really well, and with the injury to Briggs, he gets an opportunity. So we look forward to seeing the start of his career tonight, the big fella.
Yeah, he's from the GWS Academy for the Arena, so we wish him all the best. And Dern, welcome into you. You've been down out there.
I had a chat to Shane about the young lad.
He's wearing his jumper.
And he said, I've tried to put a bit of my technique into him.
The knees and the elbows and stuff.
Yeah, Captain Risky. So we're having a look here now, Bedford and Butters. So the first time that the Giants stepped Bedford out as a tag was against Zach Butters last season.
It's almost 12 months ago, no?
Yeah, so really, if you're Port Adelaide, you've got the triumvirate of the three stars, and that is Horn Francis, Butters and Rosie. If only two of them are playing, if you're the opposition and you cancel out another one, can Port Adelaide win? Can they get enough midfield brilliance? Can they get enough good footy going forward if you effectively take two of them at one by their own injury hand, but the other by stamping them out with a run with Toby Bedford again?
Where would you play Rosie, Joey? Would continue to play him across half-back?
I think so. I think he's been awesome since he's gone to half-back. Their ball movement is an issue. It will be interesting, though, with Kane Farrell back, whether they think they need both of them off half-back or whether he goes back in the middle.
So toss of the coin, out of the middle there is Connor Rosie, and the long sleeve Toby Green. Going to kick to the right off screen as we get down to Alistair Lynch. Lynchy?
Thanks, Hutto. Yeah, I understand why Toby Green's got the long sleeve on. I've got about 3 long sleeves. It is 7 degrees, they say, at the moment, and it feels like 3. I'd argue the point that it's a bit cooler than that. But the rain that was just around a few minutes ago has ceased. So at the moment, it's not bad conditions. The actual surface here is immaculate. It's actually really well presented. I want to focus when we look at the GWS Giants. 2 of their absolute stars in the forward line, Toby Green and Jesse Hogan, coming off their quietest games for the year last week. Jesse Hogan had his first no goal game for the last 2 years, and it was the second time ever that he's had a no score assists game. So I look forward to seeing him bounce back really hard tonight. His teammate Toby Green again had his quietest game for the year, kicked the 1 goal, just had the 12 disposals. Probably won't play as much time in the midfield today, although he looks like he's going to start there for the first bounce.
Thank you, Lynchy. Joey, one key player, as we see young Madden making his way to the opening bounce for the Giants. He's only just returned, is Josh Kelly.
Yeah, I think they need to have a big performance from Josh Kelly, not just tonight, but as the season goes on. We know the spiritual leader, Cal Ward, is now gone. Still no Canelio, no Callahan. They have been thin in the midfield. Their ability to win ground ball, win clearance, and get the ball in their forward half, so we'll keep an eye on it tonight.
Healthy crowd, considering the freezing conditions. And it's already Bedford and Butters sizing each other up as we wait for the opening bounce. The young ruckman, Madden and Visentini. Tom Green gets it forward. Rosie off half-back. Bergman, who's helped out in the middle. The reinforcements that have been needed with the injuries. And looks like that's where he's going to play tonight. Butters tosses up the kick. Georgiades. What a challenge it's going to be for him tonight against Sam Taylor, the best defender in the business when it comes to intercepting. Butters and Rosie getting busy collectively. Rosie wanting to make the right kick into the 50 if he can. Strong lead from Georgiades. Cleared everybody and then had its own path to goal. Sure, it was obstructed on the way. It would have been one crazy one if it hadn't.
So the key forward matchups at both ends. Georgiades, Taylor's gone to him. That's going to make it a tough to keep that record going of multiple goals. Rioli, who's the danger forward at ground level and good for his size. Connor Ryden picking him up.
Ash has been outstanding this year. Uses those foot skills to find Buckley.
Zerk Thatcher has gone to Jesse Hogan as well.
Return just before the bye as well. And Zerk Thatcher had a pretty good year really in his first season. Top 10 the best and fairest last year for Port. Worked the way around Buckley.
Oh, that's got to be there.
It has. Taylor had to adapt to it. Georgiades senses there could be an opportunity here. Battle of strength between the big men. Mead. Good time to use the boot and get it to Burn-Jones. Rioli has a choice here. There's no choice really. Improve the angle and make sure of the opening goal.
Well, unfortunately for Jack Buckley, he turned one error into 2 because obviously it was his kick across ground that had the hang time that allowed the turnover, and then he recklessly came forward. I think he was just overzealous to correct his mistake. He didn't necessarily have to come off Rioli to affect the kick, and he did, which made it easy for the pop over the top. So good start for Port Adelaide. They know their strength is to play a forward half game. That is when they're at their best. You can see Buckley there. He didn't really need to charge forward and allow the easy kick over the top, but good start by Power.
When a brave umpire to ping that for a throw off the deck too, wouldn't it? But played it well there, Mitch Georgiades. Just knocked on to advantage. There's a big kick, this one, lad, in the middle of the ground.
Put a lot of work in to build up his strength and transform his body. Wins the tap. I'm not sure if that was a handball. In fact, I said it's a chuck. So, little win for Bedford, and the pressure he applies. Deep entry too. Alea at the back, commanding presence with the fist. Looks like a whip for deep in attack. Defender down. Zantini. Mead picked it up. All they did was encourage the tackle. Alea to Zerk Thatcher. Jackson can't quite take the mark. His recovery was excellent though. Feeding it through to Drew. Burgoyne now.
He's got nothing to kick to up ahead.
And that a reasonable fist of it to at least give Rioli a chance to make a contest. Is now joined by Power Pepper.
Taylor's an extra down the line. They don't want to bomb forward if they get some composure here. Port Adelaide turnover.
Yeah, they did turn it over. Tom Green again off the left boot. Hogan. Zerk Thatcher a little mini win. Hogan keeps his feet. But Alea allows Zerk Thatcher to win it back, and Radaglia touch play on. Awkward ball, well handled. Madden, a little hand off. Ash again. Thumps it inside 50. Numbers and size with Port Adelaide. Farrell. Thomas almost had him. Off to Sin. Shearing ball into the middle to Rioli. Keep it moving. Jackson's kick up inside the 50. Taylor. Not is the best intercept mark of the competition, but he's the best contested intercept mark in the competition. That's where he really is the difference between him and the others.
And he doesn't lose one-on-one contests. I think he might have lost one or two to Tom Lynch last week, which is as many as he lost for the whole season up until that point.
Kelly's misplaced ball down the line to Alea, who re-gifts it back to Harvey Thomas.
That's what Taylor does to you. He makes you kick, to try and take a kick somewhere else where he isn't. He's down the line for the 50-metre kick there.
Let's see if the table tennis continues here with a kick to kick. Yep, good play. Bergman. What a versatile player he is. No wonder an attractive prospect for would-be other clubs and suitors. He's tailored that kick well to Visentini. Hide out the handball. Fourth game this year for Visentini on end. To Farrell. Last away to half forward. Really wasn't really interested in the mark. He was trying to get Iden off his game. And Buckley back to Iden again. Handball along the line. Not clever for McMullen not to take possession. We'll say that anyways. He was called out by Tom Green and on to Madden.
He's very fortunate that young lad's a 100-kilo player. That's 50 all day long.
Gets the kick forward, does Madden. Brown flicks it inside. Radaglia back to Bergman again. He's balanced and he is off. From half back, wanted the corridor, found Pepper in the right place. It's open enough ahead, and out comes Finlayson. Rioli holds his ground. Lateral lead from Georgiades. Needs the ball to do a lot for him. He's picked it up, but immediate pressure from Taylor. Up against the line, needed to be agile and a little bit adventurous, and as you can see, the misplaced kick went straight to Buckley to Green. So it continues to go from end to end. Nice chance for Joey and Durham to get a word in.
Which means that you need a break.
I won't add any editorial comment onto that term.
You can see both teams clearly are trying to go through.
It's 50. That's one way of getting through, Joey.
That's it. Now we get a break and we'll get an easy shot on goal for Connor Rosie. But yeah, both teams, they love to use the corridor where they can. And they want to play quick, but at the moment, both teams are set well defensively inside their back 50. So when the teams are playing faster, they don't really have much of a structure forward of the ball. That's why there's been no real score so far, but the ball movement's up and back.
Yeah, the fast player is actually making the forward run with his back to the player carrying the ball.
Rosie coming in. 7 goals for the season. They've made harder since he's been across half back, but he can still get forward and he can still do damage. Positive start.
Now, a good transition. It looks good across half back now when you see Farrell, Rosie and Bergman. All of a sudden, it's been an issue for them all year. We can see the 50-year Riccardi. So he tried to go outside the protected zone. The umpire said not wide enough.
He took an angle, didn't he? But not enough. Yeah.
I've seen that 99 times not get paid, but one time it does. So unlucky for Riccardi. But yeah, it looks good. It looks promising off half back with the quality they've got back there at the moment. So hopefully they can transition the ball well, time for.
Still top 10 of the AFL coaches votes, Connor Rosie. 27 touches before the bye. Against Freo, with 6 intercepts in that game. He's got plenty of footy since coming off half back. This is a very strong start for Port. Clean out of the middle by Riccardi this time, taking on Visentini. Brown is in a rich vein of form at the moment. 8 goals in his last 3 games. Except limping away from there. He's a bit of an all or nothing, his Brown. He's in multiple goals or nothing. It's way back into play again. Visentini with a tap down, but straight to Bedford. Snatched back by Burgoyne. Time for Burton. Iden. Finlays and Potts. Put a gap in proceedings and then the bounce. Gave it all back. Harassed but not completely tackled. So it remains a live ball for Richards and Ash. Jones, he's in fighter there. He had to wait. So Butters was able to come along. Put it back to his own advantage and his team's. Burgoyne into Rosie. Fonte held on for him. Just a beat or two. Jones scrambles one forward. Bergman and Green. Right up against the line at half forward. Boundary umpire Toby Green says it's out of the full.
A golden opportunity for Jeremy Finlayson. He's 6'5" and you try and bounce it in 3 degrees or 4 degrees.
You can't always predict what Jeremy's going to do. It's part of his charm.
Well, he's a beautiful kick, so use it to advantage.
Jackson versus O'Hara and the wingman going at it. Bedford to Rosie. A little hand off again. Jackson down the wing. Searching kick. Taylor playing in front, using Ash. Buckley each knew where each other were there and who was going to kick it forward, but we haven't had a lot of this so far.
Just feel Port Adelaide is just a little better organised at the moment.
Stay out, please.
Back to Rosie again. Possession 4, ready with a goal to his name. Skipper goes to half forward. 2 rucks contest in the air. Ware, who was dropped last week, back into the team this, has his kick smothered. The Giants players were called for out on the full.
It was good work rate from Visentini. He was up near the line of the kicker and really worked hard to present down the line. He knew that's his role and they needed him because George Yardies was staying a bit deeper. So the big fella worked hard to get to that contest and force a stoppage.
Saw then plus 13, the uncontested side of things for Port Adelaide. So they're able to win it and share it around, even though both teams have given it back rather regularly so far. Jackson along the line, keeps his feet in his second game. Then it back to Butters as they look like a refreshed team, don't they, off the bye at the moment. Only early days, and that's just a fraction wide.
Last stoppage, it was Fonte who went to Butters.
Put on the line. Put on the line. Stand.
Kid is used to this weather, isn't he, growing up in Canberra?
It's a good night for beanies tonight. Ash takes off. Up along the wing. Leah sees it out.
It's not concerned for the Giants. They started like this last week in the game against Richmond. They were really sort of passive around the contest and a bit flat. And Richmond were able to get the jump on them early, and it really obviously took them until 3/4 time to get their game going. So I just wondered what happened. Kingsley there is thinking, again, a second consecutive week, just a flat, passive start to this one.
They've been relatively good starters this year. They're 8 and 4 in first quarters.
So Butters now is being picked up by Fonte. Bedford has gone over to Rosie. It looks like Rosie's come up to the footy, so they're doing a double run with roll. This leaves them 1 or 2 short. hunting the ball at the source.
The hunt continues. Wives got it out to Butters. Richards disrupted play though in the middle. Jones over the top of it. They approach it carefully. Well, lets them go for as long as possible.
Butters in the 37th Fonty, so he's swung over to him, the right-hand side of his screen there.
All at their feet. Again, Wines has been getting plenty of footy lately. Burton, great to see him in full stride and delivering into the 50. As good as you could have hoped, really, for Georgiades. That's just how good Taylor is, though. Put it back through Riccardi and O'Halloran. Blind the kick out to the wing. It hangs for a while in the cool night air. Farrell had the first play and it gets it to safety.
It was a great call. It couldn't have been a better delivery for Georgiades. He had the 2 metre separation, but Taylor's closing speed and then the technical ability to get the fist in across without taking an arm, making pure contact. You can see that it's textbook full-back work. And
It's getting a little technical, but if you want to lead against Sam Taylor, you've got to change an angle somewhere in your steps. His closing speed is so good.
Head for the big tackle on Wines. Need though able to win the ball back in the heart. Find Richards, half forward, getting up the ground. Got Rioli ahead. Finlayson is the focus. The kick was a bit strong and Buckley kind of just where he wanted it. Quickly off to Fonty.
I think they've had a bit of a breakdown here this quarter. The Giants, there's got one on in the middle if he's brave, but he's now gone shorter. Yeah, they just have not been able to penetrate through half forward in the last 7 minutes.
Some dash and then depth deep. Allaire over his head. Cadman gets a golden opportunity, which he fumbles and allows Bergman in. So Hogan goes back to work. Bergman, he was captured by Jones. Wasn't far off being holding the ball. They were about to get the result they were after, but Drew had other ideas. Here's Thatcher back out the other side to Allaire.
Really well done by Port Adelaide. When that ball got there, when they first gathered in around Cadman, within 3 or 4 seconds they had 8 players defending at the top of that goal square. So their want to get back in numbers is on display early.
Still scoreless, the Giants. Riccardi continues to ruck. This time against Radagalier. Rosie to Boak. Equals the great Simon Madden tonight, as we told you pre-game. 378 games.
You've all touched on it, but the Giants are just off. They're fumbly, they've got very little run, and Port Adelaide look most likely to score. That last 30 seconds inside forward 50 for the Giants was farcical.
Buckley beats Finlayson, puts a little gap on again. So they surge once more. Bergman over the top. Jones has probably looked the most liveliest and the most likely to score the opening goal, but he takes a step too far. Hogan and then a handball from Whitfield, who again finds himself off the ground. Bergman with the clearing ball. A bit of holding. It's going to Buckley.
They're great to scramble defence inside their D50, Port Adelaide. They're starting to get some troops back and they're working hard at the moment.
Started a half metre behind Jeremy Finlayson then, and when the ball came in, he was in front spot.
Cadman strides out with purpose. Toby Green bangs it on the boot, but again, well positioned behind the ball. A clever fumble, really, from Boak to Wines. All up.
An opportunity here for the Giants to win a clearance. They're down 8-2 to start this one. They get a chance with a forward 50 stoppage. They've got some clever players at the feet. And that'll help. A free kick will do.
And then just while they go back to take this shot, Jack McCarty, see Daniels just warming up for a sub. That seems to be pretty early.
It is very early, but mate, it's pretty cold. You're up there, we've got the heater at your feet. That's pretty fresh down here, but it doesn't seem to be any injury concerns. I think he's just warming up.
I think the worst that a bitter boundary rider is there, really.
Oh, no, I think it's quite humorous.
He's bitter as in bitterly cold as Riccardi comes in and kicks the Giants' first goal at last.
So, of course, if you're a Port Adelaide fan and you're watching this, you dislike the fact that it's come from a free kick, whether warranted or not. But it's not part of the team plan. Oh, yeah, but Rosie gets in the way. Yeah, contact, that is a free kick by the rules. And he's pleading his case. He didn't mean to do it. But I agree with Lynchy, they're just off. I mean, you can't set up your game around free kicks and stoppages like that.
playing as a second ruck. I think he's really taken to the role. I think he's improved his competitiveness. We know he can kick a goal, but I've enjoyed him getting up around the footy, and I think he has too enjoyed that opportunity to do some second ruck work, and he's been pretty good.
It's always a good discussion, isn't it, after the second ruck? And how much value you put on the ruck versus the goal kicking. It's his 12th goal of the season in 8 games. Had to wait, of course, at the start of the year. 2 last week, 3 the week before.
Almost a mix-up by Port Adelaide. Rosie was in the centre circle. He had to sprint through to defensive 50, back to a back flank.
Richards bats it down. Scrambles after it again. Jones, what a running tackle from Butters. He is quite a unique player, isn't he, with his desperation. So low to the ground. No escape there. As there was no escape too for Tom Green, he felt the wrath as well. They really do look like a team full of intent at the start of this one. Adding to Green, good connection. The kick went as high as it went long. Sim defending McMullen. Aaliyah. This is Brown.
See, I'm not big on the Tom Green snap forward like that. He's got such good vision, such good sidestepping capabilities. He's got to farm that to the outside, I reckon.
I'm keeping watch on him at the stoppage.
Giants advantage.
Oh, advantage. And that's a significant one because it's in the hands of Lockie Midfield, who surely was close enough to shoot for goal. Instead, he kicked it into the smalls in the goal square, wrap around, slingshot tackle applied by Josh Simmon.
That is one where you have to honour that target leading up. It's a 15-metre dab, but it takes the heat out, but you have to pass that off.
And just pushes Visitini out of the way. Allows Hogan the chance to snap away a goal. Dirk Thatcher upended. Thomas waiting for the right moment. Back he went to Whitfield again. And far off landing one.
They're playing more that high half forward role. Whitfield, he did a bit of it last week coming up to stoppage. Just trying to get some more numbers, some more quality around the footy.
You like that?
I do, yeah. It's been an issue for them just getting their hands on the ball enough around clearance and through the middle of the ground. So bring up a half forward. Port Adelaide are coming up with them, so it's not affecting their forward mix, but well early.
Burton. Finlayson able to release himself and get to the contest against Aaliyah.
Sometimes footy's so simple, players who are so good at the complicated don't take the opportunity. That's, I reckon, went through Lockie Whitfield's mind rather than honouring that lead in the goal square.
Madden and Visitini both got a piece of it. Butters, through Burgoyne and Richards and Rosie. He's trying to look the right way out of there. Back through Richie Handball to a man that was already under wraps, so clearly not ideal. Up it goes again. Ooh, plenty going on in the rack contest. Advantage paid. It went the Giants' way, and Riccardi again, not enough. But Hogan comes in, six the boot in, collects the second goal, and now they're going.
Yeah, they have, and they've gone 5 out of the last 6 clearances, which has given them some field position, given them some advantage. Now, to be fair, a couple of them have been free kicks where the umpire has paid advantage where everyone stops and looks, but they're able to generate a bit of movement. It was Ollie Wines for the hold on Tom Green. And then Brady Galea just got caught ball watching for a split second too long, and that's all it is when you're a defender. He was still looking up ahead. Riccardi was quick to react and saw that Tom Green was out, and he slipped out the back, and Hogan gets on the scoreboard after going goalless, having no score involvements last week, so good start for him.
All that ends well is not for whatever the sake is, but it's a free kick to Riccardi.
Yeah, should have been, yeah.
Goal resulted at the end.
I think he did pay the free kick
And he allowed it, okay.
yeah.
So not goalless this time. First time in 42 games last week against Richmond that Jesse Hogan went without a goal. Ware tracked it down. Burn Jones, half feet. Jackson's made a good start. Into the 50, penetrating ball again. Taylor commanding with the spoil. Richards has been industrious.
Well, Taylor's going to be in a lot of one-on-ones because Georgiades the most targeted forward in the competition inside 50 over 100 times. He's been the main target. Ulivioli's second with 30. So that's the difference in how much they rely on Georgiades.
He was able to scramble a kick away and hope one of his teammates could mark it. Jackson did a pretty good job. Back through Richards to Farrell. If he can plant the foot, he can kick the goal. He planted the foot, and there's the goal.
Well, Kenny gets his wish term. He said to you boys he wanted to see Kane Farrell launch one from outside 50. Now, he was just inside, but
Take it on.
great to have him back in the team. Quality user. They missed him at halfback, as we said, obviously, with the loss of Houston. How are they going to combat the ability to use the ball off halfback? And then to not have Farrell has been a real big issue for Port Adelaide the last month that he hasn't played.
He never has big steps, does he? He's always so balanced when he delivers the ball. Sweet hit. He actually calculated the wind into the effect there.
Just his second goal of the season, Kane Farrell. Missed the finals last year, of course, with that high-grade hammy, and again has missed footy after a knee injury. They're a different team with the dynamic Farrell back in the lineup. Madden has a bit going on in the ruck contest at the moment as they're finding each other's technique out.
He just took the punishment and didn't budge.
Thomas off to Kelly. And to full forward again, Hogan Loom. Not sure it's been touched, but it doesn't matter.
That's centre bounce. Byzantini's thought, well, if you stand under it, I'm going to run at you, put my knee up. I'm only a 10-game veteran, but this is your first. The young first game of Madden, he just took the punishment and went, oh, I'll still hit the ball, no problem. He's got some go in him, the kid.
Look like they're both out of the Mumford school.
Rosie sends it in the Georgiades direction. Richards over the ruckman's head and finds Burn-Jones. Got concussed and subbed out in the last game, but with the bye, he was able to get back and play without missing one.
All right, we're going to look at these two ruckmen again. They're going to give us a little bit of a demonstration here. It looks like the boy Madden likes to make a bit of contact early.
Here's the last one.
So, yeah, he took that and bang, still had a go at it. Here we go.
More of a wrestle this time.
They're still engaged.
Yeah. Whitfield to Green and then to the wing. Radagalier with the strength to step away and through. High again. Georgiades can't get a run at it. Taylor was all over him. Bedford to Kelly. Knew he had to kick it. There'd be danger involved in all of that, particularly with the man who was able to trap that in Farrell. Across to Burn-Jones. So more circumspect and careful about the way they're approaching the inside 50. And finally, a little channel opens up and Georgiades good enough to fill it and mark it.
Yeah, good forward craft from Georgiades, good work rate. He was on this open side of the ground and saw just a little channel of space. He knew that if he presented hard, they'd look for him. And it was Burn-Jones who darted the bullet.
He's going to need that sort of service coming up against Sam Taylor. He really has been their forward line this year in terms of size. 24 goals, 18. Going at the same pace as last year in terms of goals when he kicked 44. Same accuracy too, about 1 in 2. It was a beautiful kick for goal when we first saw him, but since he's come back from that knee injury, he's been terrific, but his goal kicking doesn't quite seem to be the same.
Yeah, it has been wayward this year. Plenty of opportunities, but
that one there was lazy. On impact, his left shoulder was way lower than his right, so he's going to drag it. His hips follow, and you'll drag it left.
Ash comes out. He was open to offers and whether to kick it or handball as we saw in the end. Fonte loves to run, but he sets up Madden and Butters with relish puts the tackle on, takes the young man down. Rosie just teasing everyone nearby. Feeding it back, Richards down. Burn-Jones from the side, but he couldn't get the jump on Hibbleberg.
That's how they want Harry to play as a winger. Just standing underneath it. He's 6'4". He can take those intercept marks.
The most trouble there for Iden, but Hibbleberg does gallop away. Taylor. So just under 4 minutes remaining in a very tight, interesting opening turn here. Port coming off the bye, but 4 losses before then. And the Giants, of course, just scraping over the line last week against Richmond after a really good win against Carlton. The week before that. Down line, Cadman!
Hogan was down the line for 15 seconds screaming with the calling the bus saying, kick it, kick it, kick it. It didn't quite get there. And I just think all that interaction of Hogan, he might have actually taken a bit more attention. And Cadman gets a, gee, that's a good mark. It's an overhead ripper.
We'll talk about him a little more, Joey, after he has this shot for goal here. 15-13. This year hasn't been as accurate as last year. 2 goals last week against Richmond.
He likes it.
The mark deserved a goal. And gets, it's just deserved. It's tight again. So tight, in fact, that scores 11.
Well, that's a great mark, isn't it, Dirk? Because, I mean, normally we've seen Cadman when he's able to float across the pack or get a run and jump at it, but this time he had to actually stand under it in the end, and there were bodies coming at him, and to have the strength to bring that down, I think it'll do his confidence the world of good, because
That's a super mark.
that is, isn't it?
Yeah, that is a genuine key forwards mark. He's got a massive man against him, a 6'4" or a 6'5", and he's got the fullback coming out and hitting him at the same time. Yet his arms are so extended and high, and he holds it all the way down. That is a genuine key forward grab.
Just saying, we're waiting for him to have a breakout game, Hutto. Like 48 games tonight, he's had good quarters, he's had good games. He hasn't had that big breakout game yet where you see a star really emerge. So we're just waiting for it. Could be tonight.
Rosie steaming out of the middle, almost legged, but you couldn't stop him. It was so dynamic, deserved a goal.
Gee, that looked good, didn't it? So good in flight.
So as good as he's off half-back, when he can get the clean break out of the middle, you want him there as well, don't you?
Yeah, Buckley's on the break.
He's set play from the kick in.
Yeah, and he has 15 or 20 on Power Pepper. The slight fumble didn't aid the cause, but gets it to Thomas. Just pops a little lefty further down the line to Toby Green.
Good numbers back here already, Port Adelaide.
Byzantini dropping back for extra reinforcements to Ruckman. And he eyes it off here. Hogan will try and close through the fingertips down to Sin.
It's interesting that Connor Rosie centre bounce half back. A lot of it's depending on what Toby Green does, because Bergman's going everywhere with Toby Green. So if he's in the centre bounce, Bergman's in, and Rosie's at half back. If Toby Green's forward, then Bergman starts at half back and Rosie goes into the midfield.
They closed Hogan down well then and eventually got it out. Rounding it up was Whitfield. Back through Bedford to Taylor. It isn't easy to pick the ball up cleanly. We've seen that regularly tonight. And Lear gets bundled over. In fact, he gets picked for holding the ball back.
He's a bit stiff there. Most of that tackle happened over the line.
Did.
Nonetheless, he just thought his way through a little slowly there. Leclerc.
23 disposals and a goal last up. Bergman finds Wines. Oh, there's another 50. Upside endearing themselves to the locals here. Giants have got a real strong hold in Canberra. Always good healthy crowds. It's a cold night to be out watching footy.
Tell you what, that's a real decent 50 as well.
Wines, just the setup. There's no real design on the kick though, is there? Maybe that was the plan. Rioli!
Giants are screaming touched.
Yeah, they're adamant here that it's touched, so I'm sure we'll get the soft review, but in the meantime, we'll admire the front and square work of Rioli. We'll take a look at the 50 first. So yeah, this is right in line with the back of the square. Tom Green straight away tries to go back, which the Giants do often, and the umpire said stand before he had the chance. There's got to be some more communication with umpires and clubs, knowing which clubs like to back off the mark, but you know, it was a long 50-metre penalty. And then Rioli, great spot, great front square in the snap, but the Giants do believe it was touched.
I think they might have a case.
Again, a lot of the defenders getting a lot of ball from the Giants. Buckley and Ash Taylor all had a bit of ball.
Still checking. Have a look this way.
Looking complete. Looking at this angle, we'd see the ball's touched by the right hand of the GWS defender. Decision.
So for a moment, Rioli was a multiple goal kicker. Now he's not.
Once they got Hawkeye onto it, it was very quick to reach that result.
Hawkeye.
There's a Hawkeye, what is it? What do we call it? Score review? Okay.
Replay.
I think the Hawkeye's more the graphics than
Is it? Okay.
stuff
All
too.
right. You call those bits, Hunter.
Love you for who you are, Dan. Here's Ash. That is a high ball. Takes some marking again. Adelaide does well to win possession to get it back in. Ash busy defending again. Green out to O'Halloran. Got some meat on the kick down the line. Captain wasn't sure whether to fly or not. Calling Green, who goes down like he's being shot. The ball is fired out many times, but it's going to have to come back because it's a port free. And Toby's in real pain there. I think he just popped it in the back. We'll wait and see.
The glute, yeah, that's going to hurt, especially on a cold night like tonight. But he's uncomfortable. Even a bit more of the hip. Yeah, he's going to struggle. You have to try and run it out. Keep it warm, because once that cools down, that'll get very, very sore.
Butters keeps it low. It was a good kick for a leading player. Georgiades was still on the turf. Sam Taylor again. So Port lead by 2 points. Haven't won a first quarter over the last 3 games. They had been competitive early though. And back by and there he gets up limping a little bit also.
And we might look a little bit more at that Georgiades Sam Taylor matchup throughout the night, because as you said about that bending the lead and his preparation work sort of something that he doesn't do a lot of, like getting rid of his opponent early. So we might touch on that even at half-time and watch throughout the night.
Keep a watch.
Rosie somehow to power Pepper and then to Vicentini. Here's Georgiades a bit further up the ground. He's got more space. Taylor's still found a way to seduce the footy and get it back on his terms. And that is the end of the first term, the opening quarter. And at Corroboree Group Oval in Manuka, it is Port Adelaide. Refreshed after the bye, a 2-point lead, 3-4-22 to the Giants, 3-2-20 as Super Saturday Live continues.
All right, folks, there we go. Quarter time here at Manuka Oval here in Canberra. It's the Giants 3-2-20 trail Port Adelaide 3-4-22. The Port Adelaide team came out to a flyer. The Giants forgot to get off the bus for a little bit. It is a bit of an arm wrestle. Manny, certainly is an arm wrestler's game, because then the Giants got back. They got back, and then Port Adelaide kicked a goal. Of course, there was one goal there. Not allowed. It was touched off the boot after the review. So that's why it's just a 2-point margin here. But it's a real arm wrestle. We're in for a good game here. I tell you what, it looks like perfect conditions out there for football up there at Manuka Oval, although a little bit chilly. I don't know what it'd be. It's probably somewhere around the 5 degrees, 7 degree, somewhere around there, but it's cold. It's cold. And of course, Toby Green, he looks hurt. He got a knee right in, the buttock near the hip. I think it's been a nice corky there. I think he's just got to keep moving, get on the bike at quarter time, or just keep moving around so it doesn't sort of seize up on him. But he'll be sore through that whack. That is for sure, Carly. That is for sure. Hey, Mylene, welcome in. Pass away Natine, the famous. Shouty. Good to see you. Good to see you. Game boards in there. Manuals in there. Well done. Tell you what, this should be a good game, close game. And tell you what, it's got the type of game, though. If one team breaks the other, well, they might run away with this game. Well, it's just the feeling I've got. I'm not too sure. 67% of the chat say the Giants. Wrong game. The Giants are going to win this one. 67% of the live chat so far. But we're only at quarter time, early part in the game, so anyone's game. But it's an arm wrestle. It's a beautiful night for football, and I think we're in for a real ring-a-ding-ding game here this evening. There was one thing I didn't check prior to going, and that was the ins and outs. I'm always late, but that's all right. We're going to check them now. Here's the Giants ins. Jacob Ware comes in. Nicholas Madden comes in. Brett Daniels comes into the Giants side going out. Callum Ward, of course, injured. I think he's out for the season. I think he needs to have an operation. Kieran Briggs, Cody Angrove going out for the Giants. New player, Nicholas Madden. And the sub is Brent Daniels, of course. The milestone game, and the only one for the game is Nicholas Madden. His debut game, Port Adelaide. Ratataguli. Oh my gosh. There we go. Asaba Ratataguli coming in for Port Adelaide. Kane Farrell, Josh Sin coming in, going out Logan Evans. Ollie Lord, Rory Ankins. And of course, Christian Moraes is the sub. Brent might come in. He might. You just never know. You just never know. We'll see how he gets through this. Well, it's going to be some type of corky, I think. It looked a pretty solid if. I think it could have been a little there. That was going up, contesting the mark, and he copped it there. Connor Rose, Willie Rioli, Kane Farrell are the goal scorers for Port Adelaide, all single. Of course, for the Giants, Jake Riccardi, Jesse Hogan, Aaron Cadman, 3 goals each. Let's have a look at the ball magnets in the opening term. Of course, Zach Butters for Port Adelaide on 10, the only one in double figures. 4 kicks, 6 handballs, a couple of clearances for him. Connor Rose on 9. Hey, best for the Giants. We've got a couple there. Tom Green, Jack Buckley, and Lockie Ash. Well, that's 3. All on 9. There we go. Hugh Jackson, Burgoyne on 8. Let's roll on down. Sam Taylor on 7 there for the Giants. Lockie Whitfield, looking for a big game from him, from one of the stars, on 6 touches, just the 1 clearance. Looking for him to impact the game in a little bit. Let's roll on down because we're about to head back down to the ground for the second quarter. 7 degrees in Canberra. There you go. 7 degrees in Canberra. It's the same here in Melbourne. Blue Mountains would probably be up near 0, I would imagine, where you are there, Squire. Sam Palpepper, he's one of my favourite players for Port Adelaide. Just the 3 touches, 1 kick, 2 handballs. Is it raining? No, it looks beautiful, perfect weather for football up there. To my eye, it doesn't look like there's any breeze. It just looks like a fantastic night for football up there at Manuka Oval. Just chilly. Not yet 8 degrees at the moment there. Well, there you go. Tell you what, it's warmer there in the Blue Mountains than it is here in Melbourne or Canberra. Well, there you go. There you go. I would have thought it would have been a little bit chillier in the mountains. But I tell you what, it does look like a perfect night for football there. Out there. So it looks like Toby Green is still out on the ground, lining up in the second quarter. It should be an absolutely fantastic second quarter. Hey, let's head on down to the commentators. They'll take us into the second quarter, where it's Port Adelaide by 2 points.
And they're pretty good in that area, in fact, and that's put them at this position of one of the few first quarters they've won.
Yeah, and what it's led to is 5 of their 7 shots have come from turnover, and they've been between the arcs. So that would be pleasing Ken Hickley. If they can keep that pressure up, win the ball back, and get looks going forward, that's how they want to play. But the question for Port Adelaide, we heard from Ken Hickley, can they do it over 4 quarters, not just 1 quarter? But a good start.
Tom Green starting on the bench in the second quarter, just part of the rotation. Toby's going to stay warm and stay out there.
So he's starting in the centre bounce. Bergman next to him.
3 Giants tools up forward, all close to goal. There's Bergman.
Which means Rosie coming off half back on Lockie Whitfield. You see them there at the circle.
And the tap, well read by Drew, though, off to Rosie.
Doing his best.
Buckley brilliant there. He was the most went one way, he went the other, and that's where the footy went. In time with Ash, and then to Kelly, and to Lear. So it's handball happy here, the Giants, and why not? They've got the next player to handball too. It was a free kick paid, and the umpire might call it back, Willie, here.
No, it's downfield.
Yeah, no, I think he called it back because he called some advantage and decided in the end that it wasn't.
2 slipped over in succession there. Players, that is.
It's McMullen. And the short sleeves high up inside 50. Bergman. Wines was going to handball. Rushed. They realised he had more time, so able to get it to Sin securely. Finlayson thought there was a free kick involved. There was. But
yeah, they're getting a hold of him, the GWS Giants. 2 key backs, Buckley and Taylor. This is Buckley's 7th intercept possession. Sam Taylor's had 5 as well. So Georgiades and Finlayson, if they can't win the contest, they've got at least half of them.
up to just short of the 50. Another whistle. Going the other one. To Leah. Others.
That's amazing. That kick went to where the man on the mark would have been for Alia's free kick.
Down the line again. It's Leclerc back there. Had the double fister. Probably didn't realise that his competition were about half his size, but dashes off. He's gone to ground after they'd taken out by Farrell. Dramatically, he does look sore. And inside Portwood are back through Burton, who fires the kick to Burn Jones, craving the centre corridor, but there was lots of opposition. O'Halloran, and they're coming off the ground, I think, for a bit of treatment in the background to all of this. And there's some high contact.
He's got a bit of blood in the bottom lip. I think the binoculars on him, Leclerc.
Yeah, he's not good at all.
Not a bit. Yeah, well, he clearly has bitten down through that contact.
Bedford sets it up. And look at that, the luxury of taking a chest mark in the pocket for Riccardi. Don't see that too often on a slowish play. So Riccardi has a goal already. As we said, he's been in a really strong patch of form here.
Pretty good.
Knows how to do it. Pops it through, and the Giants are in front.
So, Alistair Lynch, what you have a lot of the time with someone like Leclerc, Alialia, who is very good as an interceptor. That's the bump we've just had a look at. When you've got Alialia, he always wants to intercept the mark, so he's tempted to try and get to the drop of the ball. Is that how you should be playing him? Going to pockets, going away from and dragging the ball?
Yeah, you've got to move him, but you've got to get to usable spaces, and your teammates need to be aware who the interceptor is and use their man.
At times it just can be an issue in both Radigalia and Alia's games, can't it? They just ball watch a little bit too long and they lose track of where their forward is. We've already seen it a number of times, the Cadman mark earlier in the game. There was one right at the start, so they've just got to have half an eye on their man as well as where the ball is.
13 goals, 2 for the season now for Riccardi. So accuracy to match the fact that he's working well. Good system with Jesse Hogan. It's not so much the one-man show anymore, is it? Most weeks anyway. Every now and then it still is with Jesse, of course, with his brilliance. Heller now in the middle in front of Jones, trying to get the ball to behave itself. Picked it up as he went to ground. Under pressure from Mead, who's now going to pick the ball up to Wines. He uses his strength, but he couldn't see any friendly faces at all. And the umpire said that was enough.
He did a 540 in
Wasn't going to
there.
let him go around twice. So Thatcher watching Hogan. He's leading him to where he thinks the ball's going to land, which is about there. But Bergman was already waiting. Plots a path out. There, into Drew, posting up at centre half back. Rioli's got a little pocket of space out on the wing. I knew what to do, and he's done it so well. He's continued to improve, hasn't he? Can take the smalls or the mediums back there, or even the odd tall. Brown's kick inside. The numbers are with Port. Sin, who is generally a good kick of the football, but every now and then.
So that was well done by Alialia then. Just coming back to support. Peeled off, read the drop of the footy, came across for the spoil.
Where? Teddy Ware into the pocket. Time it's a Port free kick for a bit of holding to Alia. So the Giants 10 free kicks to 4 in their favour and 26 to 22. Well, the numbers that really matter, the scoreboard. Madden's plucked it out of there, gave it to Whitfield. They're coming in again off Ware's left boot, scrambled balls. So Thatcher in front, Bedford jump. So that made him easy prey for the tackle. The umpire had no sympathy whatsoever. Ollie Wines on the job for Port Adelaide.
Just going to try and get this ball out of their back half now, Port Adelaide. They don't really want to go long down the line. They want to try and change angles, but Giants, you can see there, have numbered off, man them up.
Wines averaging 30 disposals a game in his last 3 occasions. Got through to Finlayson. Now Richards on the fly. Helped by the toe poke of Rosie to try and maximise the potential danger. Snatched away by Rioli, and he sent it home. in the quickest possible manner. This time, he's kicked his second goal, and they can't take it away from him.
Now they won't be reviewing this one. That's just crafty and clever.
Just watch the eyes of Lockie Ash. Goes down low, has to handball somewhere because he's washed off his pace. And he just watches where's that handball going.
Good work rate from Connor Rosie. He worked hard to provide the outnumber. Ball got out the back of that kick to a contest. They had the 2v1. They kept the surge going. And again, another goal from turnover.
Back in front. Last time these two sides met, it was a 22-point win to the Giants. Advantage taken by Boak. Decides to handball to Rosie, who's already trying to lift the threat by getting forward, sending it wide to Jackson. Power Pepper. Left Taylor behind. Shrugs off Ware. Handball to the inside. Oh, Finlayson takes O'Halloran down. The umpire keeps the whistle but doesn't blow it. Handball forward from Madden. Straight back to Burton. Buzzing around Butters. Slingshots the handball to Boak. Gets himself set. Almost kneed it forward to Rosie. He tries to get it under his control, but Ware's back there to fill in gaps and forcing a ball up.
Having real influence now, Connor Rosie. He's got the 12 disposals, the most on the ground. He's had the 3 shots at goal. We're winning some clearances, forward half ball.
Decisive knock to the boundary line by Visentini that time.
I wonder if there's any thought there in the Giants coach's box on what they want to do with Connor Rosie depending on Toby Green. So if Toby Green plays midfield, it's Bergman that's in there, and Rosie's at half back. But when Toby Green stays forward, that forces Connor Rosie to go into the midfield. And
You think he'd run Toby the whole time in there?
Might be something to consider.
Kelly as the Giants defend. It's always a precarious position. What's the umpire's read on this going to be? Yep, insufficient.
If you're an opposition coach, would you rather Connor Rosie at half back or in the midfield?
If I'm putting a hard tag on him, I think it'll be easier in the midfield.
Floated from Boat. Taylor left his man again and has an influence. Rioli up against the line.
He curls his head trying to draw a free kick. Turns his head to the tackling arm. Yeah, so Toby Green's isolated himself at full forward.
That maybe indicates that he's pretty sore. He's 100 metres on his own inside the forward 50 with Miles Bergman on him. No one else anywhere near them. So he's just being told to stay at home, I think.
All just pinging around everywhere in there.
And he's just doing a few jogs up there in that forward 50 by himself. Looks like he's more of a like Derm at the moment, which is not a good sign.
Oh, look at the rucks again. They both tumble over. This time it's going to be a port from... No! Yes, it is, sorry. The umpire ported the other way. They dragged each other to ground. It's bringing a new dimension to Ruck Lotto on a Saturday night. Although these two youngsters are going about it. Quick handoff.
It's a big kick, Burton.
Burton fires away.
Yeah, if you shepherd where the drop of the ball is and when it's around the ground throw up, you pretty well know where the true drop is. If you go past that drop, shepherd the spot and the ball doesn't get touched on the way down.
He's considered, reconsidered, and then eventually takes it out wide.
Actually worked all right.
He did in the end. I think he was going to confuse himself for a moment, but he was able to find Tom Green, working that Tom Green fan club side of the ground.
I tell you what, as a forward, when a bloke up the ground goes 3 different ways in 3 different steps, there is nothing more frustrating as a forward. You have to alter your own lead 3 times.
Nick Madden on debut, 21-year-old, and Dante Visentini, his 10th game, 22-year-old, 3rd season. It's the slight edge in experience there. Drew steps on through. Butters zigging, zagging, and even his evasive skills. Madden, good work, good follow-up. Stay involved, advantage taken, and all of a sudden it's thrust forward to Riccardi.
Watch Toby's craft.
He's let gently into the pocket, and that allows the floating Sir Thatcher to get back there and intervene, and did it pretty well, really. Held them at bay.
Yeah, they did. They all rolled back. They've worked hard defensively all game, Port Adelaide, to just get numbers back and scramble and support one another. That was an important handing from Zerk Thatcher.
As Toby, as we said, got the injury late in the opening term. Bergman keeping watch. And Byzantini maybe split it because it goes straight to Drew, back to the wing. Extra stocks are with the Giants. Himmelberg firing the handball out. Now Fonte. Inside 50 goes. Cadman bustle to the front, which gave a clear passage for Manuka. Certainly opened the handball offers and Rosie took it. Now blasted out to the wing. Giants well positioned here to mark though. Couldn't do any favours to Power Pepper at all. On the tumbler is Himmelberg.
It looks like he's pushed back off the wing into a half-back position now.
Yeah, it's with Leclerc off on the bench. Himmelberg's going back to the defensive rotation.
Bedford taking down, unwhistled. Burton charging forward, roughly in the vicinity of Boak, and Fonte's got genuine speed. And he used it defensively there. Back through the middle to Ash. Here's another that can take off and power. This time he goes sideways to McMullen. It's a call from Riccardi long down the line, but favours the shorter option instead in Brown. So Riccardi just biding his time in the forward pocket. Cadman is going to come out of the goal square. So there's plenty to aim for. And Cadman is, he did all the hard work. Maybe got a shove at the end, just slightly displaced him in flight.
But that's a difference. I mean, Lynchy, if that boy wants to be a genuine superstar key forward, he clutched those.
Yeah, absolutely. He'd done all the hard work, as you said in the call.
Butters looking for a free, didn't get it. He had a reasonable case, but maybe overplayed it a little bit. So the Giants with a territory dominance here, but still find themselves 3 points in arrears. Radagalier, this defence, working hard at the moment for a living.
Interesting to see Jesse Hogan. He's come up to the footy. That's a bit of a rarity in this type of play, rather than being in the goal squad. They've left Cadman and Green down there.
Maybe it is because of Green that they're trying that.
Well, it could be Green and Hogan normally.
It's not a bad thing though. Bring Leclerc up to stoppage. He's not really comfortable up around the footy. He'd rather certainly be closer to the goal square.
Well, I think Jesse's thinking the same thing about himself as well.
Radagalier, the rucking and almost the roving. The scouts are there though. McMullen, instant kick forward. Thomas. He felt for his opponent and then realised that he could get back onto the ball. He did it so cleverly.
He's only a little fella, Harvey Thomas, but he just bench pressed him away from the drop of the ball.
4 goals straight in 8 games. An outstanding first season. Playing 22 games last year and a Rising Star nomination. Been goalless the last 3 weeks, 4 of the past 5. So he'll enjoy the opportunity. From 35 metres out, guide part, barely has to move a muscle. Giants back in front.
Yeah, he's been having a lean run offensively, Hutto, as you said, but he's a talented, clever little player, and clearly he's getting rewarded with consistency in the team for his effort, just for the role that he plays and what he's doing off the ball. That's really important, the way the Giants want to structure up some of that off-ball running, the defensive things, to keep their system going. But on occasion, he got a matchup that he liked in a one-on-one term. There's probably not too many in the comp that he'd get a one-on-one matchup he liked, but Farrell, he was able to take advantage of his light frame as well. And
I think he'd like the Dooms got the bench press comment there.
Or 175 centimetres on him. But he did. He got him wrong-footed. He 2 fists, the palms into the chest, pushed him away, came Farrell away from the drop of the ball. They just looked a little better shape around the stoppage there, the Giants.
Boy from Turvey Park in Wagga, they're the Bulldogs. Out of the GWS Academy coming through. Riccardi, another skyscraping kick, and on the full charge was Hogan. In the end, he doesn't fly. Let Brown compete in the air, but winds to Druid. It's Port's ball. What can they do with it through the corridor? All the traffic is Boak. Unflustered, out to Farrell, who gives it a high belt, and again that should favour Himmelberg. A bit of front-on contact ensures that it's his footy.
Have you been too tempted to try and come across the ground from those deep back flank positions, the Giants? They just a little bit circumspect, come down the line, use it wisely.
Midfield. 247 for him tonight, getting close to 250. Flipped out by Burton, came back to him, and now Farrell just gets away there from tackling Jackson and Whitfield through Fonte. Dead end. Power Pepper. Rosie gets it back. Gave up some yardage. They could see they could get it and maintain possession. They could go forward. Instead, Radicalier has to defend. The pacey Jones. The hungry Jones. Bedford. He's spinning like a top, but it's over.
You see Radicalier, as you said, the ball, you just look at it and think, I should be the superior being, but once it's on the deck, it's like...
Yeah, the speed looks threatening, doesn't it? Just visually seeing so many of these Giants players. It's probably leading to that huge discrepancy in the pressure factor. They're using their leg speed, not just for offence, but to also create some defensive pressure on board.
Well, neither ruckman got a hand to it in the air. Riccardi out to Bedford, straddling the line. Hogan. It's an interesting kick. No special comments from Sir Thatcher.
I think if that was someone else kicking that, Hogan would have said kick it to the top of the square.
Without doubt.
Do what I say, not what I do. Rosen.
You just feel like he's trying to scratch his way into this game, Jesse Hogan.
A lot of faith in Richards there. Ball didn't really arrive in the end. The Giants played pretty skillfully. Right now to Ware and then to half forward. The slider is Farrell.
Yeah, Ware's got to use Whitfield over the top there. He's got a bit blinded to try and just go around the corner down the line.
Big weekend for sliders, of course. The big freeze coming up on Monday. Oh, error. How costly from Alia. Cadman to the inside. Thomas. Fonte came with great intent, but the tackling was excellent and well admired by Bergman. As Toby still trying to run that off. Brent Daniels, of course, is the sub. He's the man in waiting. Get out there again. Drew steps on through. Out the back to Farrell. A call from Jackson, who's starting well.
He's had a pretty good second quarter so far, Will and Drew. Giving them a little bit around the ball.
12 possessions now. Richards, these bootstraps, which made it awkward and gave the Giants a chance, and they sense they can continue to use this pressure. Oh, Radicalier just able to sidestep and shimmy at the last possible moment.
Just see, Porty, that they want to come through the corridor. You can see Bergman's eyes. They'd love to get it through there, but Giants are defending their front half really well this quarter. Over 60% of the game this quarter in their forward half, which hasn't been the Giants' strength this season. So at the moment, Adam Kingsley will be happy with the way the game's being played.
Burton now. Safely to Boak on the wing. So 2 goals, 1 to 1-1 for the quarter in the Giants' favour. Boak put it out in front of Finlayson to his advantage. Buckley's had a really good game, so it's a good win for Port and for Finlayson in that duel. And now Wines. 2 goals, 5 for the season for Ollie Wines. Kicked goals in his first 2 games of the year, none since. This would take one of his very best. The Brownlow medalist. Back in 2021. He's second for score involvement support this year, so he's making a contribution. 48 metres. He thought he could go the journey, and in the end, it wasn't distance. It was wildly inaccuracy. Kenny discards the headsets for now. Doesn't want to hear any more conversation.
Let's see Port, see if they can try and keep the ball now and therefore force some turnovers. Let's try and hold up the Giants.
Ash probes the corridor, and really wasn't a good decision, was it? Radicalier with the size and the marking ability against Bedford.
It's an unpressured turnover. That is the worst type you can give.
Finesse it around now through Finlayson. Georgiades is on the move. It'll take a good kick. And in the end, young Jackson decided he could cut across and take the mark. Why not? Going for his first goal in AFL football. 22-year-old from Crystal Brook, South Australia, in the mid-north near Port Perry. He's had to wait. He had a hip injury, surgery in the year he was drafted. Made his debut before the bye. And here in Canberra, Hugh Jackson has kicked his first goal AFL footy, and well may he and they celebrate.
Yeah, what a nice moment for the young man. As I said, he's been made to wait. He's had to work on his game at Sandford level. Gets his opportunity now. He didn't flush the kick, it's fair to say. It sort of floated through, but it doesn't matter.
We didn't need to comment on that as it went through the air, Joe.
When he tells his grandkids about his first goal, he can say he flushed it as much as he liked, but a nice moment. And again, they came off the back of that turnover through the middle of the ground. That's the Port way. They've been able to generate most of their goals tonight.
He had to run it off the tee, didn't he?
He's happy.
You see that vision from behind? He actually ran into that space where he marked it and then took off again and went back out. And when he turned around, he saw the ball travelling, came back in a second time. So he's willing to make space for other teammates. That was a really good passage of play for the boy.
Port Adelaide fan as a kid too. Came through North Adelaide in the SANFL. As I said, in the Crystal Brook Roosters. Oh, we'll be celebrating that. And it puts Port Adelaide back in front. Tom Green dumps it end on end inside it. It grew legs itself and got a little deeper. Sin just about stubbed his toe as he kicked that one out of bounds on the full.
As we see out there, Toby Green come back on the field, and good news for the Giants also with Lecalier passing his HIA.
He might be back out of the field, Toby. Watching him run there, he's very, very proppy. It'd be fascinating to see
Bergman run away from him.
How he goes trying to come out after half-time.
Thomas gets himself a little closer. Still doesn't have the shot. Madden is up there. Was it Pogue now? It's the defender's hands with Radagalier on the line.
Got some cheek, Harvey Thomas, hasn't he?
Definitely.
Let's see Toby. Really struggling. Pretty handy sub to come on when they do want to activate it. And Brent Daniels.
That's 50-50, another one.
Oh, Toby, yeah, look, he's got the limited stride now.
Richards, what could he do with it? 3 50-metre penalties conceded.
King of the Vicentini, he's on the lead.
Oh, he is on the lead. He comes marching out the ruckman and he takes a chest mark.
If we do get the chance to have a look at this in greater detail, he actually played that really, really well. He ran a little hook turn and went back to the outside. It was a really nice little passage of play for him.
He does have one AFL goal. Dante Vicentini. 56 back in the 2021 draft from the mean streets of Brighton Doom.
Oh, yeah, gee.
Brighton Beach, Xavier College and Sandringham.
A lot of BMWs with L plates on him, Brighton.
We've seen one youngster go back and kick a goal, and Vicentini's given it a fair shake. Just the wrong side of the post. His brother is a rookie at Essendon too, Vigo. Also a ruckman. Ash with a careful return to Buckley. Another shocker on the way out. Georgiades, that's a gift that he'll relish tonight because not getting any easy kicks against Sam Taylor. Doesn't make the most of it. Fonte takes off. Thinks he's got them covered. They had a welcoming party just to come straight at him though. They're having a good 5 or 6 minutes here, Port Adelaide. Farrell, can they capitalise? Into the pocket. Buckley cuts across. Staves them off.
That was a great chase from Finlayson. Just to apply enough pressure on Fonte. And they almost got in each other's road there, the Port boys, when they were trying to go inside 50.
He's pushing and shoving, a bit of angst between the two teams as well. Just sensing here, late in the second term. Madden and Vicentini again. Madden with the tap. Oh, how did he get out of that? Tom Green curls it back towards Riccardi, and I think it's going to be a Giants free there. Outsized Farrell. Crowd suggesting it's about time. But the Giants have the 14-8 free kick total.
He hooked that.
He did, he hooked it. He'll say he meant it there. Beautifully to Darcy Jones. Pretty well spaced ahead, but Port now shuffle back, and so there's nothing obvious for Darcy Jones. The rucks are there as well. Here comes Toby Green. There's 4 Port defenders in the air. Hogan stayed down, got it to Green, tried to get into his move, but They didn't overplay the tackle.
He did so well then, Toby Green. Look at him, he can't jump, and yet he was 1v3 and still got to bring the ball to ground. I think they're just saying, let's get him to half-time.
As a result of that, they do have the footy in their forward 50, but it's scrambled out by Port. And now Finlayson off to Burn-Jones. Quite sure what he was expecting that ball to do to get to a teammate. It wasn't a great handball, and they lock it up again.
Yeah, the reason he looked down the line and there was Georgiades against Taylor and Buckley, so he knew he just had to put it somewhere where they could lock it. Oh, that's a free kick against Vicentini.
He was rushing to get there, and he stopped Madden having an opportunity. Young man on debut, but he's still just patting the air down.
Settle down, I've got this under control. I've never once believed a player who's done that.
Madden targeting Hogan, the fist come. Thomas bubbling around. Drew, I think, happy to absorb the tackle.
Such an arm wrestle here. Who can put on more pressure? The team that holds the longest, absorbs it the best for the longest.
Butters slashing through brilliantly off the sin. The kicks to open country out on the wing. The ball will do what the ball does. We're never quite sure what that will be, but it sits nicely for Iden. Returns, plays it along the line to Riccardi. So here come the Giants again. Minute 30 remaining. It is so close as you can see on the scoreboard. Every goal.
This will be their 18th inside 50 here, and they've only kicked the 2 goals.
They still are just behind. Tom Green deep. Oh, Toby Wade at the back. Hogan spilled the mark. Still recovered and kicked it. The perfect dimensions have gone over Vicentini and landed with Darcy Jones just cushioning the kick beautifully.
It was a beautiful mongrel kick, wasn't it? Yeah, just too much float on it. I reckon that snap he did with the banana in that pocket 6 or 7 minutes ago made him think,
He learned his lesson.
I've been told off by my mates.
So Darcy Jones now looking for his first goal of the night. And to recapture the lead in Canberra. It's the favourites in front.
Yeah, they really feel they deserve that goal. The Giants, you just mentioned it, Derm, the dominance they've had this quarter in their forward half. As we said earlier, this hasn't been their style of play for the majority of the year, the forward half game. They've been a team that's been reliant off their ball movement off half back. They've usually been a really efficient team going inside 50, but they've probably felt the frustration of a lot of teams that play a lot of the game in that forward half. You can't get the score on the board and you get a bit of frustration, but to get that late goal, get back in front, I think Adam Kingsley will be, as I said earlier, be pleased with the way this quarter's panned out. They haven't really put the big score on the board, but I think the way the game's shaping up, they'd be happy.
It was a good result though, wasn't it? I mean, the ball was, it got to him ugly, but he meant it. He wanted the ball in that direction.
After a couple of goalless games, Jones puts them back in front. 5 straight from set shots, as you can see, to 2-2 for Port Adelaide. As I mentioned earlier, last time they met, the kicking at goal was horrendous from both teams. 30 seconds remaining, still play. Oh, look at that for a barrel from Farrell. Oh, Georgiades was trying to make something up on the spot.
Wasn't it beautiful?
Farrell barrel almost went through. Just for those who didn't hear it the first time.
I thought you had an iconic moment there.
They've just done the right thing and gone through.
Lucky Ashisana, I want you all on that wing. We're going to lock it up. And then he'll probably play on and get as far out there as he can.
And the bash from Ash goes out to the wing. Towed back by Vicentini, picked up by Burgon, and there's Burton. Caught it.
That's right.
So the arm wrestle in the nation's capital. The Giants just ever so slightly ahead. But that battle of strength will continue. Joey.
Yeah, it's the best way to call it, the arm wrestle. But no doubt, as I said, I think Giants will be happy with the way the game's being played, but no doubt Port Adelaide will be also pleased. They're in this contest. They had a really terrific first quarter. They were able to defend really hard and not allow the Giants, despite the entries, to kick away on the scoreboard. We know Port Adelaide's second halves have been the big issue. So if Kenny can get in, just tidy up a few things with their game, try and get a bit of that dominance back around the clearance and get a bit more ball in their forward half. They are creating turnovers, and they've got their two superstars in really good form in Butters and Rosie. So a lot of positives for Port Adelaide as well as the Giants.
Yes, the Giants have been good finishers this year. And of course, Sport have yet to win a last quarter. That's all still well ahead at the moment. Big third quarter to come. Now let's get down to Alistair Lynch, who's stretched out beautifully across the turf, Lynch.
Thanks. Hello, here with Sam Taylor. Sam, how did you feel that second quarter went? You look like you held the ball in your forward half a bit more.
Yeah, we launched it in there a bit longer, but we're going too straight at the moment. We're just, the ball just keeps coming in. We just got to change angles.
You just felt you were slow out of the blocks in that first quarter. Was that raised at quarter time, or how did you feel?
We thought we weren't too bad. Our contest was pretty solid. We just got to maintain this. It's going to be an arm wrestle, so hopefully we're going to...
No worries, all right. Get inside, get in the warm.
Cheers.
Sam Taylor, the superstar of the Giants, who lead by 3 points at halftime. The Super Saturday Live.
All right, folks, as he just said, it's a real arm wrestle here at Manuka Oval in Canberra. 6-4-40, the Giants. 5-7-37, Port Adelaide. The Giants putting on 3 goals, 2. Port Adelaide, 2 goals, 3. Hey, what? I was thinking more like it's a little bit like a chess game, this one. Moving positions, etc., like that. Going forward and back, forward and back. I'll tell you what, who's going to make the smarter moves out on the ground? We'll take out this game. Back and forth, we had a few. We had 1, 2, 3, 4. We had about 5 lead changes in that second quarter. So that shows you we're in for a close game right to the end. And I think it's going to be definitely a close game right to the end. Although our poll suggests otherwise, 74%. Still saying GWS Giants are going to take this game out. And you might be right. I still like the way Port are doing it, but I just don't like the way Port are going inside their forward 50. Addy G, the famous... How you going? How you going? We had someone in the last live saying he was from WA, but he says, who barracks for one of the Western Australia sides? So we've got one of the most famous people in. Normally, he's a big Freo supporter, and there you are. You've turned up. Santa, oh, good on you, Al. Chia, make a love shout out. She's back in. Santa, oh, good to see you back out here, Chia. Shouty to you. Carly, and of course, Manny there in beautiful Blue Mountains. 7 degrees there. I'll tell you what, she's chilly. She's chilly. Hey, you know what I want to do before I go any further? Let's just have a little bit of a look at this live ladder, because this can affect a few teams like we were talking about. So if we turn the live ladder off, a Giants sitting 7th, well, they're inside by that game. If we turn that on, the live ladder, there we go. There are a couple of games clear. Hope Port win to keep GWS level on points on the ladder with Freo. Exactly right. I tell you what, it makes for a real interesting, situation, especially if the Giants lose this on 28. And of course, whereas if Port Adelaide go to 20, they'll be 2 games out, but their percentage is just horrendous on 79%. But that really makes it interesting around here if the Giants lose. Stays on same as Freo, and the Western Bulldogs only 1 game out, so that's a danger. So, and Essendon are only 1 game out with that game in hand. So that's really going to be interesting. But there is the live ladder at the moment. Let's go and have a look and see who the goal scorers are. All right, we've got a couple multiple goal scorers. Willie Rioli, there we go. He's had 3 kicks. Willie, give the ball to him. 3 kicks. 2 goals, 1. He's scored every time he's had the ball and kicked it. Connor Rose, 1. Hugh Jackson, 1. Kane Farrell, 1. They are Port Adelaide goal scorers. For the Giants, Jake Riccardi, the only multiple goal scorer. There were 2. Harvey Thomas with 1. Darcy Jones, Jesse Hogan, and Aaron Cadman are your singles there for Port Adelaide. There we go. Lockie Ash tops the table for the ball magnet disposals out on the ground. He's got 18, 14 kicks, 4 handballs, a couple of marks. He's doing well. Connor Rose, 16, best for Port Adelaide. Hey, let's get back to this in a moment. Let's just head back down to the ground. They'll give us a little bit of a recap on the opening half.
And as a kid, and just his second game would kick truly enough here in Canberra. Gave Port Adelaide back the lead, but the Giants were able to retake it and lead by 3 points as we welcome you back to Super Saturday Live, brought to you by Toyota Tundra. Remarkable power, undeniable presence. Something you could say the same of as Dermot Bruton and Alistair Lynch.
Thanks, hello. Yes, Derm, good to see you down here. Yeah, sort of. But it was an interesting first half, and it was really dominated by the halfbacks of both teams. The likes of Sam Taylor and Lockie Ash and Buckley off halfback for the Giants. They were the top 3 rated players for the Giants in that first half. And then you look at the other end of the ground, Farrell and Bergman dominated for Port Adelaide.
And a little bit of Alira as well. He's their 4th intercept player down there. So the thing is, when you're playing the Giants, if you can't occupy them aerially and they've got enough pressure on upfield, those backmen are going to have a field day every game. You've got to get pressure on the midfield so it goes in there better, or take that pressure off, kick the ball in low, because that's what Georgiades is. He's a movement type key forward. He can play key forward, but stand and deliver, that's not his go. That's going to be right up Taylor's alley. But if you start hoiking it high without any real representation there, they will pick it off.
Absolutely. Our halftime highlights, thanks to Macca's. I'm loving it. Is that matchup, Georgiades versus Sam Taylor? Now, you made an interesting point halfway through the first quarter about Georgiades needing to bend his leads. Now, take us through that, what that means.
So what that means, if you see the ball coming forward and you recognise the space and you just go, right, I'm going to turn this into a sprint to lead for it. Sam Taylor is really quick on a straight lead. See, he ran past an opponent then who actually screened him against Sam Taylor.
Yeah.
If you try and take Sam Taylor on a straight lead, he's going to be able to get you. He's got great closing power. But if you can actually go on a lead, make him commit to chasing you, and that's not really where you want to go. And I'm only talking bend the lead by about 15 to 30 degrees. You then get Taylor to take 2 steps before he gets back to you.
Yeah.
So it's just something Sam Taylor doesn't want to do. If you said to Sam Taylor, what do you want? He'd say, I want blokes to lead on me in straight lines.
He wants a track meet. And that's where I reckon Georgiades, that preparation also, and your ex-teammate Jason Dunstall used to do this beautifully, would push off. So this is 5 seconds well and truly before the ball gets down there. He's done all that prep work and he's allowed to have some space.
Absolutely, and just with his mates as well, he'd push off as well occasionally. But he was very, very good at it.
He used to push me off a fair amount. So we'll grab a break here in Canberra, and when we come back, we'll reflect on a Super Saturday and reflect on the Tom Stewart bump and the Stengel Sealer. It was all happening down at GMHBA Stadium.
All right, now they're on a break for a moment. Let's get back to your player stats and we'll see who's doing what. Alarosi! How you doing, Shotty? Pasawena Tine. Bruh, have you visited Western Sydney? I visited Sydney. I actually visited Canberra. I think I visited Canberra earlier this year. Unfortunately, there wasn't a game of footy on, or else I would have stayed and watched it there. I tell you what, Canberra's to me, it was a beautiful place, a little bit different to other cities in Australia, of course, but I thought Canberra was quite nice. Hey, if you check out a couple of the videos, I've got a video there, Manny, on it's like visiting Footscray. Oh, okay, we'll stay away from Western Sydney then. The Bombers might win. Yeah, I think they're playing Carlton tomorrow night, so that should be a cracking game. What was I going to say? Yeah, if you have a look, I did just one on one of the, was it the gallery, the National Gallery in Canberra, and Parliament House. I went and had a look at Parliament House there in Canberra. So there's a couple of videos there, Emmanuel, if you want to have a look there in the videos on the channel. There we go. But I only drove up there for the night, just had to go to one of the embassies there, so just went up there one day and drove back the next, but still did a few. There we go. Where are we? Kane Farrell on 12 there for Port Adelaide. Zach Butter 16, nice going so far, 4 clearances. There we go. GWS Jack Buckley on 12. Lockie Whitfield still not doing a great deal, just 11 touches. Ollie Wines on 11 also. Who else? Radigalia on 10. There we go. Tell you what, Toby Green still looks a little bit proppy after his knee went into him, into his buttock, hip side there. Would have been a nice corky cop there. Tell you what, he's going to be sore tomorrow. I'm pretty sure it was him and not Ali. Oh, it might have been Ali. There we go. Just with the 9. Harvey Thomas, Sam Taylor both on 8 with Harry Himmelberg. Who else we got down there? Sam Pepper, as I always say. I always like to check in and see what he's got. He's a little bit quiet tonight. Usually he can dash up and do a few things, Sam Pepper, just with a 6, 1 kick, 5 handballs. He's at a clearance. Jesse Hogan. Well, Jesse Hogan, he's been reasonably well held tonight. Hasn't done a great deal. He got that 1 goal just from, sort of a low handball, or actually a drop mark, and sort of kicked it off the ground from the goal square in the opening quarter. So just the 4 kicks for Jesse. He's, as I said, he's having a bit of a quiet one. Travis both on 6 for Port Adelaide. Willie Rioli, we need him to kick on a little bit. As I was saying, 4 touches, 3 kicks, 2 goals, 1. There we go. Toby Green, there we go. Just the 3 touches, 3 kicks. He's had a clearances, a couple of tackles in the mark, but as I said, he looks a little bit proppy. He's still a little bit sore out on the ground. Maybe they will sub him off, just see how he goes. I think they just wanted to keep. Who do you think is going to win tomorrow? I'll have a look in a second. There we go. Disposal camp, Port Adelaide is by 16 overall, so not a great deal of difference. Kicks pretty equal. Handballs just a plus 18 there, inside 50. So the Giants getting plenty of it, 31 inside 50s, 49 is their season average. So they're doing well there. They're getting enough, as I said. Just the quality of entry could be a little bit better for the Giants, and the forwards could be working a little bit harder also. 26 for Port Adelaide, right on half of their season average, which is all right. 63% disposal efficiency. Well, my gosh, Port Adelaide, you need to lift that. That's deplorable. 63% disposal efficiency. You need to work that out. Hey, have a look at the free kicks for the home team. 15 to 8. Only double. I'm sure that'll sort of level up a little bit, come to the second half. We'll keep an eye on that. 15 to 8, plus 7 in the free kick. Stoppages. The hit-outs, Port Adelaide winning there by 7. Clearances plus 4. So it's not a great deal of difference, plus 4. Centre clearances, the Giants plus 1. Stoppages, Port Adelaide plus 5. All right. Where am I up to? Stoppage clearances, Port Adelaide plus 7. Contested possessions, well, they're both, as I said, it's a pretty well contested game. It's a little bit like a chess game, a real arm wrestle. This game up here tonight, it's just fantastic. It's, you know what, it's actually a good game to watch. It's a good game to watch just to see who's actually going to do the little 1%ers correctly, get their basics right and tear this game apart, which neither side at the moment have actually done. Plus 20 in the uncontested for Port Adelaide. Turnovers, well, turnovers are pretty high in this, 45-46. That's definitely up there. They need to be a little bit cleaner. 44, plus 7 in the marks for the Giants. Marks inside 50, both teams getting 5, but certainly could do a lot better job in working their forwards for that contested mark. Giants a little bit stronger in the air, 6-1. Let's have a little bit of a look at the tackle count, because the tackles are definitely well low. 25 for Port Adelaide. You really certainly do need to bring a little bit more pressure. You've got to have pressure in your game. If you're not going to bring pressure to your game, the opposition will control, and at some point they'll just take the game out of your hands and run with it, and they'll just stick you back on the bus and say, time for you to go home. 35 tackles for the Giants, doing it well, but here's the count for the Giants. Their forward pressure is fantastic. 14, already 40% above. Already 40% above their season average. We're only halfway through the game. 1 tackle inside 50. Port Adelaide, what are you doing? What are you doing? All right. Let me go back over here. Alarosa. Who do you think's going to win tomorrow? We've got some games on tomorrow, haven't we? Don't forget, we do have some games on tomorrow. I might be able to cover both. I think I may be able to just cover one. because I think I've got to pop out tomorrow. The games tomorrow we've got on, folks. North Melbourne Football Club, they're taking on the West Coast Eagles. I think where's that in? Is that Tasmania? In Bunbury. Hands Oval in Bunbury. Of course, the Kangaroos go into that game favourites at 163. The West Coast Eagles 228. Tell you what, that's gonna be a fascinating game, Tine. I'm not sure who you think's gonna win. Prison Bar Blues footy. Oh, yeah, it could be too. That's exactly right. Who do you think's going to win that game? North Melbourne, West Coast Eagles. I tell you what, that's a bit of a. That's an interesting game. That's an interesting game. North Melbourne were playing reasonably good footy. Maybe West Coast. Maybe West Coast might actually cause the upset there. Although it won't be that big of an upset if the Eagles happen to actually get over North Melbourne. So, being at over there in Tasmania, interesting game. I tell you what, West Coast going from probably mildish type of weather down to the freezing cold of Tasmania. That's not a trip anyone would think. Galarosa thinks North Melbourne. Emmanuel thinks the Roos. By 14, says Delarose. I tell you what, it could be. It could be. I'm just thinking on... I thought West Coast played reasonably good last week, didn't they? Let's just have a little bit of a look. West Coast. Oh, no, that's right. No, Geelong. Geelong beat West Coast Eagles by 43 points last week. That's right. But I think Geelong took it away from them late. And, of course, North Melbourne coming off a bye. So we'll see what happens there. But you know what? You could be right. Could be North Melbourne. The way their form's been going, you may expect North Melbourne to win. And, of course, the other game on tomorrow night is Carlton taking on Essendon. Oh, how do you pick out of this? You know what? I think Carlton will win that game. I think Essendon. Well, yeah, I don't know. Well, I don't know where Essendon are at the moment. Apart from, I don't know. They need to be in a rebuilding position. They're just not. I don't know whether Essendon are actually doing a great deal. Although, looking at that, Essendon have won 6, lost 5. And Carlton down there, Carlton won 4, lost 7. I'll tell you what, she's going to be an interesting game. I just need to go back to, I want to see where these teams actually played last week. That's right. Essendon only lost by 3 goals to the Brisbane Lions up there at the Gabba last week. So that was fascinating. Of course, Carlton had the bye last week. And Carlton ended up losing by 28 points to the GWS Giants the week before that. So that's going to be a real interesting game. You know what? I don't know. I really got no idea who's going to win that game. I think that could be a tight game. That could be a really tight game. Just depends. Just depends what team brings what on the night. I would expect Carlton. Just through some of the quality of their players. I just think that they need to bring it and they need to win this. That being said, this is a game that Essendon, they can't afford to lose this game either. John Elliott Cup, there we go. Could be. You need to go to bed. All right. Good night then, Ella Rosa. Thanks for dropping in. Appreciate that. We'll probably see you tomorrow if you're in for the next game. But it should be a good game. It should be definitely a good game. Carlton and Essendon. I did have the... let me just go back to that. I want to have a look at the odds on that game. 140 for the Blues, 294 for the Bombers. There we go. Even though I think Carlton, the Bombers are good value in that game. And, of course, on Monday football, if you're still wanting the rest game, I think Collingwood will win that and win that pretty comfortably. They should do. But, mind you, Melbourne have been in some reasonable form, and I think it's a big stage, big game. I think anything can happen on that day. 4-10. Big underdogs, Melbourne, 124 Maggies, but hoping for the Maggies. So, yeah, look, I'd probably be tipping. All right, look, you'd have to. All right, okay, you probably got to tip North Melbourne, Carlton, Collingwood. They're probably the 3 that I think most people would expect to win in those games. Hey, the gang, how you going? Welcome in, the gang. Let me just put g'day to the gang. How you doing? What's happening? Thanks for dropping on in. You can let us know who you barried for if you like. That's fine. All right, what do we got? All right, hey, let's get back down there. I think they've already started the third quarter. My gosh, I've been talking too much. All right, let's get back down to the action. Where's the Giants? Both 3 points.
Daniels All-Australian squad last year, so great to have him back. Madden, Visentini. Tussle continues. Great straight away to the action. Slick hands, too slick for Jones. Returns tackler. And then Bedford. Whitford had time to steady. Just a quick glance and then try to let the instincts take over, but he's missed everything.
Outside 5.
Obviously he's not too happy about it.
He's had a few cracks at the goals tonight, like Midfield, playing that more high half forward role.
Been a defender for a fair while now, hasn't he? Lines. See what's ahead for him. Just places it down the line. Oh, good leap from the back. He got up. Boat back through his legs almost. Tom Green now. Thrusting his left boot more and more. And Cadman at full reach and stretch. Pulls it in. Swings it inboard. There's all sorts of risk involved in that kick, and it backfires. Taken quickly by Georgiades, but Buckley was on the job against Finlayson, and the ball not clear. Double grab at it from Visentini. Took Burt and Butters, but Green back to Cadman. Jones really favours Rosie, who had a run up. Gets himself balanced. Kick goes up along the wing, very wide. Skids away from Rioli. Knight and Buckley powers the handball to the inside. They're coming in again. And shows he can torp it. Wow, that's gone 55, 60 metres end on end. Lyons tracks it back. Handball missed from Zerk Thatcher. His direct opponent was about to benefit. Then Hogan. Lyons goes in to try and clean it up. Jones up against the line. Chaotic at the start of this quarter. Centering ball from Ware. Daniels left to try and fly, and he's never going to be able to take that against Bergman.
It shows a
Bit of confidence.
A little bit of, I'm willing to take the game on, doesn't it, in your first?
I wonder if he had a bet with one of his mates that I'll do it to him on debut. Crafty kick down the line from Brown, but it's straight to Radical here.
What's really noticeable is that if you can look after Georgiades and the ball's in quick flight, there is really no aerial representation for Port Adelaide forward of the centre square.
Again goes for Bergman, knowing his aerial skills. Takes the mark in front of Daniels. Finlayson is the deepest forward, but it's short gains for now to Boak. Happy to play this game. To Rioli. Vern Jones leads. Number 45. Finlayson holds. Power Pepper also deep. And Georgiades, the kick tucked into the pocket. Finlayson's marked it, but is he out already? No, it's a mark. And
he's a shot from here.
He is more than capable. He has mercurial skills. And he's as big as probably Jeremy Cameron, his former teammate, can snap the ball about as well as anyone from distance.
Oh, he's a stunning kid.
Former Giant, of course.
Paddy Ryder was the original snapper from distance. He can snap the ball 50 metres, but you're right, Finlayson, Cameron, both very good.
Let's drop it short.
Yeah, so that was not the exhibit we were looking for. Still a bit of mayhem on the line. Start of the season in defence, of course. Finlayson was outstanding in a pre-season game against St Kilda. He lasted one game in defence.
Feels like a lifetime ago, that game, doesn't it? There's the mark right on the line. It was a perfect kick from Rioli. There wasn't a lot of space inside 50.
You'd think some of that ball would have been over the chalk, so I reckon that's a good decision.
Fonte back through Ash, prepared to throw it around with a handball. The ball stayed true, luckily enough for Buckley. All of a sudden there's some issues for Ryan, crowded out.
This is great by Port Adelaide forward.
And that was great by Taylor, back at you at Rioli.
Yeah, this is a real feature of the first half. Both teams were scoring from 4 to half. So both teams 4 of the Giants 6 goals and 4 of Port Adelaide's 5 goals were from 4 and a half turnovers. Scoring from deep 50 has been almost impossible tonight. Just 1 point scored by either side coming from D50 to inside 50. So it's this forward half game that both teams are really trying to apply.
Visentini slams it on the boot. He too can do a torpedo. And that might end up in a Georgiades goal.
And just off the ball you can see Sam Taylor, Dermy, put his hand straight to his head.
Yeah.
And he can't believe it. For whatever reason, there was either a bit of a
Trapped in the
breakdown
pocket,
or he
yeah.
and he just said, for the moment, I'll just take Burn Jones. I trust you, Lecalier, to take care of my man because I've done the job on him all night. Mitch Georgiades gets 1 minute of separation from Sam Taylor and he's able to capitalise.
Look at the way this bounces. Look.
Yeah, but he did. I mean, that's a fortunate bounce. But let's look beyond that. He was able to overpower Lecalier, move him away from that drop. Wouldn't do that to Sam Taylor. Now, Sam Taylor's got to say, I cannot let that happen. I just cannot let that happen again. Yeah, well done. Mitch Georgiades made something out of nothing. He's given a window of 6 or 7 seconds, and he's taken full advantage of it.
Neither he or Finlayson scored in the first half at all. So Finlayson's had the near miss now. Georgiades has a goal. There might have been some high contact.
They do, don't they?
They didn't know.
Quite no. Off to Daniels with a handoff. And the Giants turn to thrust forward again. It's that kind of night.
That's a push there.
Yep.
Yeah, he made good movement to it, and that draws a bit of contact. How severe it was, that's the only question.
Cameron Brown to line up.
He's been a good goal kicking form. So that goals the last 3 weeks. He was the hero last week against Richmond, kicking the match winner.
I thought it was more of a hold than a push.
Should be able to send this one through.
Oh, that's a shank.
Poor fan enjoying himself. I think he thought trying to reach over the picket fence might be a stretch too far.
There's a tiny bit of distance between the fluoro
There is.
and the white fence behind it.
Careful as you go for Port on the way out. Back to the goal square to Farrell from Rosie and out this side to Radigalat. Waiting, where to next? Back to Bergman. He takes off there. Plan undefined. Kicks wide and long to the wing. Power Pepper versus Buckley, who continues to control things defensively tonight.
So,
Combination.
and that is Georgiades led out to the commentary side, right to the back flank. He can't get over to that flank, so you need a secondary forward to present, and Powell Pepper doesn't jump high enough, isn't good enough at marking it up high. Ripping play at what he does well in the forward line, but that's not it.
Butters read the tap so well, kicked it forward. Taylor and Buckley go to work again, still under pressure, but Ivan glides out. Kicks to Jones again. The body work was pretty good out there from Sin. Rosie, though, had company more than one. Somehow the ball got knocked forward from Sin. Jones captured up against the line. Butters, and his will and determination, thought he could get clear, but Jones, more than the match, does well. Forces the throw in. So still early days in the third term. We've gone 8.5 minutes. Port have retaken the lead. Plenty of lead changes already through the night. Look broken here by Boak with a flick to the inside. Jones kick smothered straight away. Taylor again was involved in the intervention.
They do the hard work for Adelaide. They win a clearance and they just run into the wall of Taylor and Buckley.
They do. Rush kick inside. Speed was the name of the game there, but instead, hiding on the spot. Back through Buckley. Now Whitfield prancing around off half back. Into Ashley goes. Whitfield keeps on running and keeps on coming through the middle. Lear crash. Whitfield-Zentini put a Lear to the turf again. And Port win the ball back. It's Mead. Forward handball to Butters. Put it in the hands of your stars and see what happens. Oh, Pepper taken away by Buckley again. Impossible back there. Kicks up along the wing. And the ball over the line out of bounds.
Yeah, what a game Buckley's playing, but Lecalier's hurt again. That's the risk reward, the way the Giants want to play. Their handball game through the corridor. Porter been pretty good on it all night. And the young fella term, the ruckman, he's throwing his weight around for his hand. That was a terrific fair bump again. We saw an earlier bump on the Gold Coast Geelong game. And Lecalier's still trying to get his breath back.
Tony the tap, toe forward, maybe in danger, was it? Giants forward
a trip.
Okay. To Ash. Again, big night for Lockie Ash in terms of possessions. His 23rd out wide. Aware, back to Ash again.
Outside 5.
One of the prime running defenders in the competition this year, but he was too predictable that time. Georgiades again, Butters, this time Power Pepper. He's got Taylor and he's got Buckley to beat. Not an easy task. Too difficult as it turns out. Just exhaustive running from Buckley, and you can see how much his teammates love him for it.
It was Ash again, who's been more by foot tonight, coming out of the back half for such a quality player. That's at least 3 unforced turnovers that he's gifted to Port Adelaide.
More caffeine for Kenny. Keep him going a little bit longer. His team has the lead. Under siege again. Madden and Visitini square off.
Notice Sam Taylor's a lot closer to Georgiades this time.
We whack away at it. Bedford, Madden. Oh, didn't quite get a kick out. Ash, it's all in a rush. Port have the numbers and they have position. And again, an Ash kick goes straight back to Port Adelaide, and it's Rosie who already kicked a goal.
So that if you're a junior player and you saw that, what needs to happen then is that kick that goes hopefully out of defensive 50, you have to contort yourself to try and get that ball to land as close to the boundary as possible. You cannot leave it with any width.
Port Adelaide's leaders have been really strong at the start of the quarter, but Rosie lets that one get away from him. It's another behind.
And it looks as if they made the change of Giants at half-time. Toby Bedford now running with Connor Rosie. So they feel he did the damage in the first half.
They looked in here though, the Giants. This is really good by Power. Once again.
Get out again. Disruption from Rosie.
Look at the Port players run to him and say, well done. Look at that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Clearly, that looks like that is what been put on the white.
Yes.
Blackboard somewhere.
You can see it, can't you? Yeah. They're motivated to do those little 1%ers here.
Not sure how many blackboards still exist.
The whiteboard.
On the throw. Riccardi went too far forward. Look at Butters. Tom Green brought down by Drew. A lot of would-be umpires out there.
Stand up, Willow. I'll take it. Next time, I'll take the footy.
Tom Green will have the last word. More of a spat between those two. Ash almost stumbling. Butters didn't make it easier for him. Sent it back towards way. Mead. The kick was into the front 50, but that if that was further up the ground, that would have been insufficient.
Yeah.
And to
It's not a bad play, though.
Well, it's not a bad
Yeah,
play.
yeah, it's a good play.
Get away with it. Should you be allowed to get away with it? Sounded surprised, Joey. Port hit by Joe Short, Finlayson.
Now that might be.
That's outside the 50, that will be.
Yeah.
Good point you made, Joey. So Buck.
As if we're Georgiades has got to start running through a little bit of goal square traffic and try and get a step or two so he can get a run and jump and launch at the footy.
Can barely breathe with Taylor watching him so closely. Himmelberg's turn to short circuit. Makes it back over the boundary line.
Alistair Lynch, this has turned into another arm wrestle, 10 minutes or so.
Oh, it is. The ball's just trapped at that side of the ground, and defensively set up very well behind the ball, Port Adelaide, and just locking it in there. They've just got to capitalise.
Well, Riccardi as Finlayson went to ground. Kelly, a handoff. Riccardi out of there. Radicalea. Sound enough down low. Backs in the chest mark. Burgoyne calls for it. He's playing it back first. So Thatcher. Then to Burton. There's a beautiful long kick of the footy. Took his time and tossed it up for Sin, who didn't have to search for a moment or two. Georgiades moving now. Taylor should have him covered. Makes the spoil. Back to Richards. So close to the line again. Taylor.
So what's that one again, Anthony? From a standing start, Georgiades just went for a straight sprint on lead. He's got to try and find Taylor's That's what he loves. He just wants to be on the racetrack. He'll hunt you down in a straight line and go past with the fist.
Bobbles out to Ware. He too goes for some sort of half torpedo, but goes back to Burgon. It's catching. The kick goes inside to Finlayson. Same spot as we saw before. Actually, maybe just a little better angle, but maybe a fraction further out.
He'll go the drop punt here, but they've just had the same frustrations a little bit in Port Adelaide that the Giants had in the second term. They've had 9 of the last 10 inside 50s. They haven't really got scoreboard reward for it. They've played the game in their forward half, so if Finlayson can go back, it is a tough kick, but just really get some reward for effort here and put a bit of a gap on the Giants. They've controlled the last 10 minutes.
And the only little bit of breeze here today, he's kicking straight into it.
66 games as a Giant. Once he said a little bit of breeze and a lot of angle to negotiate. He kicked it hard. He had a slow approach and then just went very hard at it. Like Brisbane last night in the last quarter, as you said, like the Giants earlier in this game, there's no reward for dominance of field position at the moment for Port, but they are ahead by 5 points. Biden facing the same gridlock ahead.
Yeah, Port really trying to take away the switch. So they're working hard, forcing the Giants straight lines.
Really got close to it on the mark there to almost spoil this dynamic stuff from Aaliyah. Toby Green sucked off at half-time, replaced by Brent Daniels. First time for him since round 4. Darren Cadman trots back. Not much going on for the forwards at the moment for the Giants. Riccardi got in front of Finlayson. Poke Bedford.
There's Toby, all rubbed up with a sore butt, and he'll just be sitting there cheering his team on. He'll be frustrated. He's such a competitor. He'd want to be out there, but we saw that he could hardly run late in that second term.
Plenty of Port Adelaide flavour in the coaching camp, of course, with the Giants. Barton Kingsley, premiership player. Brett Montgomery there as well.
So what's happening now, the number 1 ball winner inside is Tom Green. But see, Willem Drew and him there playing Ringa Rosie. Willem Drew sacrificed his own game in this third quarter. He's cancelled out Tom Green, and that's why the Giants cannot get any traction away from stoppages. They can't get first hands on it.
Aaliyah set them up to fall. They did both individually and collectively for a moment. Looked like they were going to turn it over.
Yeah, that's a sense of impatience. The Giants, they can't get a transition going at all from one end to the other, so they might just start to get impatient and cough one up.
Well, can the Giants swing it out of there and get it forward? O'Halloran has that idea. It's over the head of Aaliyah. Cadman bounces back in the favour of Port. Aaliyah just trying to escort to the line. And over it goes. Just to underline that point with the Port flavouring. Not only is it the head coach Adam Kingsley, 170 games, and Brett Montgomery, he saw Bulldog 126, Jason Davenport. Some time with the Cats and also with Port. It's part of the coaching staff with Adam Kingsley. In his third year, finals his first 2 years. 7-5, they'd love a win tonight. Not going to be easy. Burgon back to the wing. This young man continues to impress. Jackson gives it to the captain.
They have to go short because Buckley's back inside 50 on his own.
Visentini had drifted down, but the ball gets away from Travis Boak, who can still get frustrated by the footy after 378 games. And smile about it.
Bit of miscommunication going on here with the field. Daniels from the Giants has turned around to the bench and thrown the arms wide and said, where? What? Where do I go? Where do you want me? There.
Daniels the blind handball. Bergman. Boak. Drew. Finlayson. Winds. One more and someone to be able to kick it. They can't. Ash that time gets a couple of bonus points back his way with the tackle.
But they're still set up really well here, Port Adelaide. This is great defensively.
So they are going to switch this time. Is there a complete path to the other side?
They've numbered off pretty well here, Port Adelaide.
Yeah.
Done a great job.
Himmelberg, worried look on his face.
Cadman has to come up.
Taylor's going to fly. Cadman as well. They flew against each other, really. Kelly, the ball juts out. Goes and gets it again. Just throw it up to Cadman. Iron quickly. Halloran smashes it forward and wide. Hogan, been start for a while, just gets pushed off it by Radical there, but he fumbles it out.
The Porter's got to keep this up. They're playing a great brand of footy this quarter. They've controlled it. I know they haven't got the scoreboard reward yet, but if they keep this going and just don't drop off, that's been their issue in recent weeks. They just drop away and then it can really break open. It doesn't sense like that's going to be the case tonight. It feels like this will be an arm wrestle right to the end.
We haven't got a final quarter, as we know, so I want to be ahead at three-quarter time. Me shapes the kick, hoping it'll at least get touched. Pretty much like that. I don't actually think he got a hand to it, Bill Jones, but the umpire says that's fine. Maybe Fonty did. Throw it in. Holding pattern continues here. It outs 21-12 in favour of Vicentini. All gets to the back that time. Butters, Fonty was ready for him.
Even numbers everywhere. Both teams bring up half forwards around this stoppage, so a lot of numbers around this ball.
And the maul continues. So Tom Green's gone to the bench now, having a breather.
Race there, the sub still hasn't been activated. Kick to the Giants. And to Madden.
First game where he cops it. Giants free instead of his name. The umpires normally.
Oh, they're pretty good generally, the umpires. But,
yeah, first gamer.
First gamer. Ash targets Giants.
So this is about as far as they've got in the last 10 minutes.
Yeah.
What can they do from stoppage here, and what can Port Adelaide do to stop them going inside 50?
Again, it gets out the back to Butters, and Bergman on the same page, streaming forward. Just curled the kick a little, trying to allow Finlayson to get back to it, but this man is always a step ahead. Almost doesn't matter who he's playing against.
He just tracked Bergman winning that ball to the outside and knew he had to get goal side of whoever it was breaking for space.
Heading for All-Australian again, Sam Taylor, you would think. Ball poking around on the wing.
Yeah, the problem from Port Adelaide when they won that stoppage was a great break, as good as you want, but because their forwards all set really high, they had to turn around and they weren't able to get back. If they had someone deeper, they could have a forward coming out of the footy, but they want to defend first and get up high as forwards.
So they just wear that?
Well, yeah, I think they are. They're happy with this big lock and arm wrestle, that they'd rather get their forwards high to help out on defence.
That's a great decision. One arm was pinned, so he was on his feet.
To the inside to Berglund. Here's an opportunity. Farrell with a runner. Again, deep goes the kick. Burn Jones couldn't stay on his feet. So then he handicapped himself as the numbers start to multiply. It was Taylor tripped, he handballs to Iden, didn't wait for the whistle. Over the head of Midfield, still a chance, Port. Now that's a Howell wearing it from...
What a great tackle by Rioli. They are definitely digging deep here, Port Adelaide.
There's a strangle in the nation's capital. Madden the tap. Rioli grabbed it but couldn't dispose of it. Vicentini hands it off to Burn Jones. Well, every score counts at the moment. Even the little ones, 6-10-46. It's given them a one-goal lead effectively, 6-4-40.
In this quarter, inside 50s, tells you where the ball's been living. 5-11 in favour of Port Adelaide.
Just 1-3 though, that's the frustration for them.
Ready, set, go. Ash, who's in the starter's hands, he's off now. Out to the wing. Vicentini and Madden both make their leaps. Thomas over the top. She goes again. Midfield, he's locked up also. Oh, he just dribbles a little kick out. Halloran, where? Jams it forward, Burton. Go for a kick. Steps the ball up close to the interchange, so both teams utilise that.
Yeah.
Tom Green back on.
And Connor Rosie straight into the midfield.
Oh, big hit.
Makes it 25 metres forward, but Rosie rounds it up and they take it out.
One thing I reckon I'm seeing here, Lee, is that not just the setup around the ball, but the outer layer, 7 to 10 metres, are out on the outside of these stoppages. Port Adelaide seem to be laying out a little better. When the ball breaks free, they either can put on pressure or make a dash away.
Daniels, Butters,
Feedback.
Wines. Now Daniels, just enough space to get creative. To Bedford, they're inside 50, a rarity. Brown, but Paul locked in. Bergman is concentrating for when it came. Takes the mark. 6 lead changes in this game at the moment. Port Adelaide have their noses in front. Pat Pepper. Oh, Buckley, he did so well.
He hit the ball
He hit the ball, but then there was probably front-on contact advantage. Keeps on coming with Buck to Visentini.
You've got to study that rule. He hit the ball first.
Out of the pocket, and wrong side for a left-footer, Finlayson. Went short, straight to Madden, and did all the good work.
They had done all the good work. It was as good a build-up as we've seen for about 2 quarters.
Have a look at this. He got the ball first.
No, I think you're right there with the ball term.
Probably hard for the umpire, though.
Absolutely. They say it's incidental sort of contact after.
Yes, that's true. Good man.
Well, he's got him on in the middle, doesn't look, and turns it over.
Yeah, didn't put enough on the kick. Straight to Buck.
Well, every time a player gets near the bench, they look and ask for advice. They're gassed, these boys. They're running on fumes.
Yes. All things considered. Procrastinating for long enough. Goes to the big numbers. Fisted away again. Where Georgiades was coming quickly.
Great stuff, Mitch Georgiades.
Yep.
Butters and Rosie, 22 disposals each. Butters with the 8 clearances. Connor Rosie with the 1-goal 3. For the Giants, it's most of the defenders that have seen a stack of ball. Lockie Ash, Jack Buckley, Connor Iden.
Visentini the tap. Fonte again. Butters just throwing his body around. Trying to fit a hurt around. Oh, Rosie had made the great escape, but umpire pinged it. Bedford, cautious kick to Green. Inside the last 2 minutes.
Hogan just waiting deep inside 50, when Hogan's at his best, we've seen him come up and take marks up on the wings and provide something for them, but he's happy to sit back and
It's
allow the
almost-
hits to get the work.
It's as if he's delegated that job to 2 of the other players, whether it's Riccardi or whether it's Callum Brown today.
Midfield, eventually.
There you go.
Yep, perfect. Brown marks. Hogan still waiting deep. Madden has the extra presence from a size point of view down the line. Ignores the outrage from O'Halloran in short. And he does kick to where the numbers and the size of mass. There's multiple leapers. Highest bidder down there was Zerk Thatcher who got the fist to it. Fist looks it up.
Now, this is Toby Green off the ground. This is where Tom Green has to get first hands on.
He was on the move, but so was Hogan. That's Dalton got the handball away to Bergen. The Bergman kick back to the wing. Oh, well captured by Georgiades. Oh, another 50.
Oh, yeah, Harvey
Thomas.
ran right through there.
Georgiades looking for instructions from the bench as to how long he has to go. He gives it off to Farrell. I've seen this once.
Oh, yeah.
History can't quite repeat itself. Georgiades is a long kid.
He is, yeah.
I thought he might have taken a long.
Yeah, he is, but Farrell's better.
It's their fourth 50 metres. They've given away the Giants. It's still
It could never be anything but a 50-metre penalty. How close Harvey Thomas ran to that mark.
1-4 to nothing for the quarter. Enough to give Port the lead at the last change. Can they build on that lead? Boak with the kick. Burns tries to will himself, but no one is getting past the wall of Sam Taylor.
That's his 4th intercept mark. 9 intercepts for the game. Buckley's already had 10 intercepts.
Back up down the line. Well, it set the scene for a fascinating last quarter. Who's going to have the energy and the will in this final term? Port Adelaide dominated that quarter, but only managed 1 goal for the Giants without their leader and talisman in Toby Green. The Port leaders will be there. Can Port Adelaide hold on against the Giants? Last quarter coming away from a freezing Canberra next.
Bum, 6-4-47 Port Adelaide. There we go. They're doing the job. 6-4-40 the Giants. Wowee, Port Adelaide. There we go. 1 goal for. 1 goal for. My gosh, that's not that exciting. 1 goal for Adelaide Crows, and another poster man said, hi, how you doing? How you doing? I tell you what, the scores out there, that should be simple goals they should be kicking. What are they doing? I tell you what, though, they did well, even though they scored 1 goal for. They held the Giants scoreless. Wow. You don't often see that, the Giants scoreless, but there we go. There we go. What team is actually going to take advantage of what they are presented when they've got the opportunity? That's what it's going to come down to in this game. That's what's going to come down to in this game. Wowzers. I know. Can you believe it? What is it with the low scoring? You're right. You know what? When you said low scoring, I just need to recheck some of the scores so far. Well, there we go. In this round so far, round 13, there's already been 4 matches played. No team, and I repeat, no team has scored above 81 points. No team has scored above 81 points. So it is a low scoring round, as you say. But you know what? Who knows? It could be a high-scoring game tomorrow, West Coast, North Melbourne. One thing I can say, it's going to be high-scoring on Monday when Collingwood kick 20 goals. Get on that game. You want some high-scoring? Stone the Crows. It's like having a sunny boy in this world. I tell you what it is. Just tell you, I remember the sunny boys. I used to love them. I used to love the sunny boys, especially in summertime. I was going to say, let's have a look at the goals. But hang on a minute. Let me just double check that. There was only 1 goal added. That's all right. Willie Rioli, 2. We'll go through them. Connor Rose, Hugh Jackson, Georgiades, Farrell, singles for Port Adelaide. The goal scorers for the Gold Coast still the same as as half time. No one scored for the Gold Coast. Not leaving it behind. Rush behind. Zip, 0. Zilch. Lockie Ash, 28, tops the table. For the Giants, low possession count as well for the players out there tonight. 22, Connor Rose and Zach Butters for Port Adelaide. 1 goal, 3. Connor Rose, come on, get your kick and boot on straight. You know what we might see, Emmanuel, in this last, I'm showing your age. Yeah, I know. Hey, they were still, I don't know whether you can still get the Sunny Boys. You might be able to. But I think they were a good size, but I think like all, the size shrunk of the Sunny Boys, like the blocks of chocolate and everything in the supermarkets. It's crazy. Anyway, let's just roll through the stats there. Lucky Whitfield, 18. Tom Green, 20. Ollie Wine, 16 for Port. Let's just roll down. Yeah, I wasn't sure whether Carly said that Toby Green actually was subbed out. I didn't hear that. And I actually didn't see him in the third quarter. The yellow writing giving you a free, yeah. I got a couple of those. You get a free Sunny Boy. That's right, inside. It was like silver foil, so you didn't want to bite it too much. Dante Vincenti's going all right. 10 touches for Port Adelaide. 24 hitouts, 5 clearances. And if we go down there, Jesse Hogan still unsighted for the Giants. 7 touches, 4 kicks. Just kicked that goal in the opening quarter, I think it was. Same with Cadman. 7 for 1. Toby Green must have been subbed. He's still on the 3 with that sore buttock or near the sort of near the hip where he copped that big knee. So he'll be sore. That'll be a big corky. So whether he's able to be right for next game, who knows? Hopefully. But there we go. Let's have a look at the live ladder now. Let's look at the live ladder. Live ladder, Port Adelaide will jump up to 14th on 20 points if they end up winning this game. And, of course, if the Giants lose, because this is a live ladder, they'll remain on 28 points, equal with Fremantle, and only 1 game. and Essendon, who have got to play tomorrow. But Essendon's percentage is too poor, so they won't jump into the top 8. So these top 8 will pretty much round out round 13. But I tell you what, it's a danger game for the Giants. It's a game that, you know, they can't afford to lose, or they're going to be in strife. All right, hey, let's hope for a ring-a-ding-ding final quarter. Ladder watching is like watching a beautiful sunset this year. It is, I tell you what, it's really interesting game to game to what's going to happen here, there, and everywhere. That's pretty fascinating. All right, hey, that's enough of me chatting. Let's get back down to the action. It's Port Adelaide by 7 points. We don't want to miss the 7 points. We don't want to miss the final quarter because they're about to bounce the ball in just a moment. So that's enough of me for a moment. Don't forget to, hey, while we're waiting, don't forget to put a vote in. Don't forget to hit the like. Give it a big thumbs up if you want. Share. You can share these out to all your friends, so all your friends come in and listen on to it as well if you like. There we go. Send all. Thanks, guys. Hey, let's get back to the action. It's Port by 7 points. Final quarter.
Absolutely. So what's happened now is Willem Drew went over to Tom Green and put the arm lock on him. He had 7 clearances up until half-time. He had 1 that quarter and 3 possessions. Had 17 before half-time. So the Ken's identified Tom Green's the man who can start the ball rolling for them. So we'll put Will Drew on him and cancel him out.
Giants have been great finishers. Port have not won a last quarter this year. Can they hold on? They have a 7-point advantage to end a 4-game losing streak. They're going to start with a footy.
Block.
There's a turning handoff. Perfect man to give it to Farrell. The entry will be deep, but that won't stop Taylor trying to cut across the angle. And defy them once again. Nice work on Midfield by Ben Jones, but he's clashing in again, and Midfield limping away.
It's classic Kenny, this, isn't it? He's reached the soul of his players here after 4 losses in a row and says, I want your best tackling effort. You've got to give me tackling effort and pressure.
Here's one of your men, Joey. Kelly, clearing ball. Full stretch, Zerk Thatcher. Fonte. Fine agility. Bedford wasn't quite sure whether to take that or not because he was going to be taken in the tackle.
I'll tell you what, he enjoyed that too. He lifted up Joe Richards off the ground. Doesn't give many men he's going to
say. Madden breaks clear. Doesn't know who he's going to hand it to. Bergman had a good prediction. The rumble continues. Daniels gets the handball to Fonte. Power Pepper maybe a fraction high, but Tom Green grabs it anyway. Down the line to Hogan. He got Zerk Thatcher out of the picture, but the boundary was too close. On the mini hill up there, the Giants fans watching on, hopeful. It's a cold, cold night. Plenty of rugs and beanies, scarves.
It's a great place to watch footy from on that outer hill over there. It's fantastic.
Jack Fingleton scoreboard. Transported here from the MCG all those years ago. Green with a hand off to Daniels. Feeding it back to Iden and then off to Fonte with instructions, which is to take the yardage down the line. Equal numbers in the air. Underneath it's all Port. Butters. Radagalier disrupted in play. Daniels to Bedford. Thought he could get past Richards. He was wrong. Whitfield.
Hassled off it.
Yep. Bow. Radagalier looking for the exits. Whitfield and Brown with the tackling team. Back down the middle between the goalposts to where the ruckman lie. The tap down to Kelly to the outside to Daniels. Getting busy, getting it forward. Alia held Cadman at bay mostly there. Radagalier, Brown dodging through. Jones in. Brown again. Gotta get your reflexes keen and you're kicking better. Hogan. First goal, first score for the Giants since half-time. And it cuts the margin to 1. Let's have a look at the Bunnings Warehouse building.
So have a look at this one. Once it goes in, Daniels gets the ball in. Once the ball hits the deck, there's one player in there who's really adept at ground level football. Here he is, just about there, put the pressure on there. Just get it out to the side. There's a little bit of panic there. They're kind of biggish. They've defended so well tonight, so beautifully. And I expect it to continue, but when the ball was on the deck, you just felt that it was was going to find its way outside.
Yeah, Radigalia, a little bit fumbly, had a couple of fumbles when he tried to get the handball received and another ground ball just about 30 seconds or a minute to go. Hogan bounces.
This one bounces the way of Bergman and Port, where numbers are even. Your best chance to score. Georgiades did everything but take it. Ash leads the ground crew. Thought he had the measure of Finlayson, who can't believe it wasn't called out of bounds. Bergman worked off it by Green with great expertise that time, and opportunities about now. Iden down the line, suddenly the spring back in the step. There wins a one-on-one contest. Cadman takes it, waits for something ahead to materialise. Hard running from Kelly Orland, and he knows it straight away. He's furious with himself, Cadman. Then off the hook.
Yeah, like the leadership of Kelly, he knew the kid made a mistake. He just put the hand up and said, don't worry about it, move on. Some other players might have sprayed the youngster because that was an easy over the top and they were out.
There with the territory take down the line. Not great connection on the spoil from Taylor, but extra work done by Tom Green.
It's a great win by Tom Green on the back.
Wasn't
15 metres further to the right 30 seconds ago.
Against Bergman. Tom Green, 25 disposals. Ash, 29. Butters, 23. And Rosie, 22. Bergman, 18.
So only 3 possessions in the third quarter for Tom Green. He's up to 5 already in 2.5 minutes.
Make it 6. Madden had a piece of it. Butters takes some stopping always. Always moving, twisting, turning, using Drew. Down the line. Good representation from both. Ash provokes. They're celebrating the defensive stuff as well. Both teams can do it.
There's been a lot of them tonight.
A lot of
defensive acts.
A lot of reasons for excitement. Port lead by 1. Visitini the fist from the Bergman. Drew was aggressive in his approach, and after a long delay,
He thought about it, the umpire, didn't he? Whether to pay holding the ball or high. I think there's one of the other umpires maybe said something because
he's getting some valuable touches now.
Yeah, they've just thrown him in the middle. They said, we need your class, we need your ball winning around the ball. You and Josh Kelly are the two that are going to have to get to work for us.
Daniels lofted number across the ground to Taylor, who didn't panic. Anxious look on his face. Takes the predictable option down the line. Hogan broke clear to get to the contest. Zirk Thatcher sticking to task. Ooh. Just sort of free shot to take out some frustrations there. Port hanging on to a 1-point lead. Zirk Thatcher limps away. Rucks go at it again. Ball continues just to smoulder around it. Broken up by Boak, off to Rosie. Again, equal numbers where the ball lands. It pitches away from Taylor, who had no mind to really try and pick it up. Happy to get it over again.
Yeah, both teams have just trusted their defenders to win one-on-ones all night. And for the most part, both have been really strong, solid, really strong. Being able to halve and break even and not allow the forwards to get off the chain.
Crowd enjoying the boundary umpire's work. It's a very high throw-in. It beat both Ruckman. Richards at the back. Just got the handball away. Bergman. Back into the crowd. A few out of bounds on full time as well, wasn't there, as well as the ball was another tour.
Miles Bergman, I was watching him out there on the ground from close quarters. He flushed every kick before the game. Every kick.
Been good again tonight, Miles Bergman. Yeah, combination of midfield and half back. Been intercepting, winning inside ball as well.
Covers the ground so well, doesn't he?
Places it up. Plenty of size there for both teams. Daniels again. Working overtime. Boak throws his weight around. Through Radically to Butters. Didn't have time to adjust too much. Just kick it in again to Taylor versus Georgiades. At the back, next off the line, Finlayson Ware. Under the hammer, but he would have welcomed the sound of the whistle quickly, because if it didn't come, he would have been in trouble. So Port's opportunity here to score. Giants with the only goal of the quarter. As time ticks away, each goal gets more and more value, more high price on it for either team. Hence the desperation and the sheer manpower around it. Trying to get creative there. Corner.
Power Pepper's normally won this situation. A lot of bodies around the ball. He can create something. He gets on the fly sometimes at these 450 stoppages.
It's Kelly v Butters here, so that's a real danger for the Giants.
Butters came. All gets away. Towed forward by Burn Jones. It's a behind.
There's no disrespect to Kelly either. He's just not good at locking players away in a moment like that.
Golfer almost got Midfield with the flag. But nothing's to worry about without that. Whitfield with his beautiful foot skills. All McMullen lets him down. Went back to try and rectify the situation, but he was caught and lucky. Very lucky to get away without a holding the ball. Now McMullen again.
A good step.
That was an excellent step to come back well to Daniels. Calculated kick across to the outer side to Fonte. And then to half forward. Sin working hard back. Hogan, Bedford, Rosie with a tackle. Ken Cleve would be umpires.
And this is the challenge now for Port. Just they start to look a little bit fatigued, don't they, Dermot? The run of the Giants may just start to shine, so they've got to really dig in, Port Adelaide.
Now Pepper comes up from the forward line.
Back to Zach Thatcher, just a pokey ball. Good body work from Jackson to match it with O'Hara, and Bergman already had the motor revving. Comes away, Rosie had to keep that. His brilliant skills, evasive skills, he needed them all. Jackson, adventurous kick into the middle, almost came good, but Drew was hunted down by Himmelberg. Harry was the hunter there, and he wins the free.
Yeah, they tried to try and be creative. They have lost all shape forward of the ball, Port Adelaide. They had no forward except Rioli, who was 100 metres away. So that's why they tried to get a little bit inventive.
Yeah. Giants fans thought that should have been 50. Where
He was one too close to that man.
yeah, he played on and then realised that he got himself into a bind. Rosie, I've seen more of his ability above his head since he's gone back to half back. You've got to be okay, don't you?
Yeah, he can take a mark over there for sure.
To the outside, Jackson continues to make a good impression to Poke. So one on his second game, one on his 378. And into Bucks. Smoothly. Pat Pepper in front. Ball from where? Taylor got away from him. Rioli, the perfect man for the occasion. Hello. There's a whistle. Let's go.
That was a free kick.
That was a free kick.
That's why they stopped. Nonetheless, great main goal, if you go in there enough times, there's a push in the back. If you go in there enough times, at some stage you're bound to get an errant ball. Yeah, that just bounces in your favour.
Taylor back to the wing. Oh, came up. That's allowed to pass by the umpire. Rosie was crushed. Sin pinpoints Bryant. Rosie still on his backside.
Yeah, that's a free kick all day long.
It's incredibly dangerous. Have to get a look at that again.
Himmelberg, where they're all tied up. Pound Pepper couldn't stand his feet. The scramble is truly bad. The hands are so good though. Himmelberg got himself in and out of trouble. Port trying to sweat on an error. The handball towards the line. Wines thought about letting it go over. Realised he couldn't. To Boat. Turn out another one. Pound Pepper. Butters. Can anyone get a kick out of there? Boat found a way. Curled it like he was snapping for goal. And again, Himmelberg has got plenty of time in defence. Does so well. Look at the kick.
It's a great kick and it opens up the field ahead.
It does, and Buckley does further damage. Kicks along the line to Brown, then to the wing. Cadman stretching out against Hilaire. Had it, lost it. Cadman trying to claim the ball. He's not really tackling. And the umpire decides against paying a free either way. Rosie.
Let's have a look at that spoil.
It's a marking contest, isn't it?
No, you can't do that. Can't do that. Lecalier's had to go forward. I think he's pretty sore. But they need soldiers out there at the moment.
Ball slammed forward from Tom Green. Playing in front, Cadman takes the mark. And again, the crowd urging.
He's got Hogan's a one-on-one here.
He set it up high. Hogan going to be worked off the ball. And Rosie taking no chances. Probably could have marked it.
There's the different body language from Josh Kelly earlier when it was Cadman that made the mistake. Jesse Hogan is wanting that lower and flatter so he could have the advantage. He just was sat up in the air far too long.
Since Lawrence will give you that.
Port Adelaide by 2. We don't know how many more goals there are to come in this game. Byzantini punches it once. Bergman on the follow. The race is warming up down in front of us here. The sub still hasn't been activated. Who knows? He could still play a pivotal role. Up she goes again. Zantini the tap. Zach Thatcher stripped of it. And Riccardi's kick is well handled in the goal square by Radicalea.
Well, they conceded a forward 50 stoppage earlier in the game. Radicalea was in the ruck and Alir was up at the stoppage with Hogan, but looked much better. Those two being deep as Moraes now does come on as the sub.
Fine take from Richards. Out point square. Critical juncture there at halfback. Getting closer to the midpoint of the final term. Ripping stuff from Canberra. Port Adelaide desperate to break a losing streak. Off a bye, giving it their best shot against the Giants. Struggled to beat a bottom 9 team last week and are struggling again. Got an opportunity here, an opening for Fonte and for Thomas and O'Halloran. Nothing scientific about it, just getting it forward.
That's that. You've got to be more cautious. You've got to, even under the heat of the battle, you've got to be able to give out that handball to advantage.
You can just see there, the sub has been made. Finlayson's been subbed out, Moraes into the game for Port Adelaide.
What do you think of that, Richard?
Just gone for a bit of extra leg speed, I would have thought. And just, he struggled to make an impact, Jeremy, so I just thought they'd change something up late.
Yeah.
So Lecalier's gone forward as well to try and see if he can provide a spark for the Giants inside 50.
He's slow to react as a forward.
Incoming, Visitini and Riccardi at their feet. Me just couldn't quite get the run of it. Drew's turn to get slung around. Visitini sets good wherewithal, but the handball went straight to Green and then to Kelly. Again, it was in a rush, more so than needed. Back out into the crowd.
Fatigue starting to creep in. We've seen a number of mistakes, a couple of kicks out of bounds. Pepper dropping a mark coming out of the lead a moment ago. It's one of the things that the fundamentals that just drop away when you start to get tired and lose concentration.
Radicalea after his 17th disposal. It's a big number for him. Up along the wing. And cleared the two ruck. And guess who takes an intercept mark? Sam Tate.
5th intercept mark, 13th intercept for the game. Radicalea, the other end's been excellent as well.
So it's man on man everywhere. 2-point margin. The best team wins because it's going to be man v man. It's not going to be any real system that wins it from here. Who grinds better? Who beats their direct opponent?
Riccardi. Hold off again. Radicalea as good as a kick. Georgiades kept the hands clear and the ball to throw from me. Midfield takes off, got tripped, but they keep it moving. Kelly from Green. The next kick, the important one. Brown versus Burton. He was hopeful of a free kick. Kept on coming through from behind, so that's all there is in it now. And we're inside the last 10.
Good run. That's hard run by Richards. Just gives him a relief kick up the middle so the next one can get completely out of danger.
Richards plays it wide for Alia. Giants have won 3 thrillers this year against Geelong, Richmond and Melbourne. Can they do it again? All placed up along the wing. There's Taylor again. One more time, denying Georgiades. Bergman. Oh, Power Pepper was thinking too far ahead. Buckley. Back to Whitfield. Instructed to send it to the other side, but Whitfield, I think, made a pretty good assessment there. Targeting William. Not so much with that kick, though.
This kick.
To Drew. And then short to Moraes. Maybe he can play a role. A massive role. How's that for impact? On and in. First goal in AFL football is one he'll never forget.
Well, what a massive moment too. That's exactly what you need to do when you come on as a sub. Create some space. He read the turnover straight away, just caught him in the bottom of screen. As soon as Drew took that mark, he was off. Shot out of the cannon. He sensed the opportunity. He wasn't going to have too long to think about it. That's a big moment in this game. Come off the back of a mistake. We just mentioned a few minutes ago the fatigue in these players now, the turnovers the unforced errors. And Port Adelaide finally get some reward for this forward half game that they've really dominated since half time.
I liked how he played on. It's a big kick. It's a pressure kick if he goes back and takes the set shot.
Drew at his feet. Back forward and then back off half back from Whitfield. Knocked away from Thomas. Evades just about everyone. Prolonged appeal and eventually the umpire says, yep, that's holding the ball. Daniels is cooked. Burgoyne. Wines. So now the onus is very much on the Giants to win the ball back, try and win the lead back and the game back. Rosie. Up to the 50. Big climb from Himmelberg. Burgoyne again. A little closer to goal. Ash fends it away. Scooped over the line by Buckley. Where are they going to find it from? Port just trying to gum it all up now. Wines is doing some backup ruck work, so Madden can dictate turns. Tom Green, the swing and the miss. Wines trying to feed it out. Ware anticipating as such.
The challenge for the Giants, we're talking about this tsunami, they have not scored out of their defensive 50 for the whole game. In fact, they've only kicked 2 goals from the back half. Those were across half back, so they want the ball down there into the field.
Not going to help, Joey.
There's Ruckman. They've been giving away a lot of free kicks all game, haven't they?
I was asking for clarity on the situation. It's going to be Ollie Wines.
I'm not sure who it was. I think somebody... Oh, there you go. They stooged it. Yeah, he thought that was his direct opponent. He didn't hear the nomination.
So Ollie Wines hasn't kicked a goal since early in the season, but it's a sort of night to right a lot of wrongs for Port Adelaide. He's a nut-slot man. We know he's got some issues from a health point of view, but you can see the joy that is spreading around Port Adelaide. Has Kenny done it again? They lead by 13 points.
Yeah, the most you can say he wasn't dialed in for the entire time. Didn't know who the nominated ruckman was.
Fourth free kick is given away tonight. Xavier O'Halloran, that's a crucial one at the stage of the game. In that situation when it's completely unnecessary. And now the Giants have to start to just play, go for broke. Now they do take risks, they've got nothing to lose here.
6:43 remaining. It'll feel like an eternity to Port Adelaide and their supporters. And they're running on top of the ground at the moment. Whitfield, he loves the all-out attack mode, but that comes unstuck. Green and Powell-Pepper both fully committed. Powell-Pepper laid out as Himmelberg tries to round up the footy. Going to be tackled by Visentini high. Bergen careful not to run off with the footy too far.
It's had a pretty good last quarter, Harry Himmelberg. This is the type of risk taking they've got to take. They've got some extra numbers out here now.
Buckley targets one of those numbers in Darcy Jones. That's an obvious free kick. They'll give it back to him quickly. Not everyone is allowed to get away with that. Darcy Jones. Precision on the kick. There needed to be to Tom Green and more of the same, and that works. Spreading it for O'Halloran.
That's a hard run by Tom Green. They haven't done that enough tonight when they've been locked away looking to go down the line. Players haven't run and set up a 70, 80 metre run away from a zone they can receive and then come back to it.
Hogan, O'Halloran feels like he's got this within himself. What a kick it would be from here. Xavier O'Halloran, in the game on tired legs. It's not going to be a goal. And the defenders do their thing and concede the behind. So they needed 3 scores to tie. That's one of them. Still time to level it or come back and win it. Burton's going for a bit of a Saturday night stroll. It was on offer. It was an open invitation. She loudly took and connects with Burgle.
Now, what he's saying is he wasn't just going to play it safe. They don't need to be too risky here, but they also don't want to go real conservative. Just try and milk some time off the clock, but keep taking some metres gain. Keep getting some territory.
Torn Bergman away from Himmelberg and Daniels.
It's a good result.
Giants won by 22 points last time they met.
Ken Hickley still hasn't sent an extra behind the ball. They've just got the 5v5 defenders. Connor Rosie up around the stoppage. No extra.
Rosie taken care of. Very vigorous tackle from Green. Strength from Drew Lowe's. Not quite strong enough. He just dropped it. The tackle was already finished, but he just couldn't dispose of it correctly. Daniels back again. Again they run at ground.
And he's trying to make it up now. They've got to take some risks, so they'll just trying to create the handball, see if they can get some speed on the ball. But Port Adelaide onto it. They've been alert and really good defensively for the whole game. They just need to stick in there for another 4.5 minutes.
Tonight's form coming in. They've won 3 of the last 4. They really can't afford to be dropping these games at this time of the season. But Port are going to take some beating. It's going to need aggression like that. Now let them play a bit more. Daniels inside 53. Port versus 1. But the one giant was Hogan. And he put a giant tackle on. And Bedford followed suit. And now they're close enough to hurt.
This is where those little fellas are super dangerous for the Giants up here.
They're on the move. Radical Air puts his heft in the road, holds things up.
And also just a challenge for the young ruckman Visentini. Not to give away a free kick. He's given away 5 for the night. Just play it safe.
Madden, Butters, Burgoyne scrambles a kick. It's markable. And that's exactly what Bergman does.
It's in safe hands.
A lot of pressure on you now, Joey, after that comment, but he kicks it out to the wing.
I did it.
Went straight to Sam Taylor, who steps on up again. Off to Ash. Through the wing and a central kick. Stretching Cadman. Matched by Lear. And Farrell had no mind to release the ball, just minimalising the damage if they can. 3 minutes 30 remaining. Cold night in Canberra. Upset well and truly on the cards after a losing month. Zirk Thatcher clears back to the middle. Whitfield takes what was sure. Gee, that was close for St. Pepper. It really was close call. Around goes Kelly. Shortens the kick. Zantini got a fist to it, but Hogan kept his head in the game. His snap misses this time. Oh, that was a big non-50 call.
Impressed it, didn't he? Pepper.
11 points. It puts them within range. 2 straight kicks. And they'll be feeling the tension of all of that. We're all feeling it. Farrell on tippy toes. Has a bounce. How far out can he kick it and still keep it in the favour of his team? Visentini just couldn't quite seal the deal there with the stretching mark. Extra in just his 10th game. Giants try and get organised.
And Port Adelaide have now sent an extra behind the ball, so it's Miles Bergman, but the Giants have now gone down and manned him up, so they've got extra numbers now inside 50. Himmelberg is also pushing forward.
Neither ruckman could whack that. Daniels got the tap straight to Butters. Into the middle, guiding it for Richards. He doesn't want to do anything rash now. 2 minutes 42. You've got to have your wits about you now. Out to the wing to Burn-Jones.
Zach Butters, brilliant, just had his career high, 11th clearance and an equal career high, 20 contested possessions. So in an arm wrestle, we get to roll the sleeves up tonight. It's been their superstar that's led from the front.
And marching the ball down the ground, slowly but surely. Power Pepper into the corner. Georgiades has had no access all night. That continues. Whitfield Richards, got him! You're gone! Joe Richards, with a great tackle, he got scored. But he won't mind at all. Targeted by Port Adelaide in the off-season. Collingwood didn't want to lose him.
It's a great tackle. It's the right decision. Held the ball out to avoid the tackler's arms pinning it to his chest. And that's his prior.
Just looked over his right shoulder, seeing there's still 13 seconds on the shot clock, so he's in no rush to start his run up yet. He wants to milk this full 30.
To just about finish it, Joe Richards, it's a pure kick, and it's pure joy. What a kick from Joe Richards, and Port Adelaide are just about safe now.
Clever knock on there by Will and Brew from the middle of the pack. I think it was Will and Brew just made sure the ball got going Port Adelaide's direction, which puts more pressure on the defence.
Well, we said to him, whichever team went for longer was going to get the job done. Port Adelaide have been able to stick at it whole game. Credit to them. It's now 7 goals, 7 from front half. Most of them from turnovers. That's been the feature tonight. That's the old Kennickley way. That's what we've seen Port Adelaide their best. Get it in their forward half, apply the heat, turn the ball over and score. They've been able to do that pretty consistently tonight.
Still going to bounce it.
Not done yet. It's almost miracle territory though, as far as the Giants are concerned. So we lose a few seconds for a rebound.
There's a loss of 3 seconds.
That'll trigger a few people. Sorry, Dwayne. It goes again. Well, now they wrestle each other to the ground.
Not brave enough to call it.
Butters again.
Yeah, it takes it backwards and why not? Out to Boogon. Now Wines, there's not a lot the Giants can do. It's just about submission time. A minute left. Bit of keepings off, just to rub it in. Port Adelaide keeping their season alive. Keeping Kent in the job a little longer. Burton plays it wide on the ankle. Even when Taylor wasn't there, Georgiades still felt his presence.
He was expecting him. He was expecting a fist.
He's probably bracing his shoulders for contact. Nonetheless, Mitch Georgiades has still fronted up. He's still gone on the lead. He's still competed for the ball. He's still fronted up against the best key backman in the comp.
Great. Won it wonderfully. He's worked tirelessly all night. But this Giants team, they're going to come up short. Kelly crafts one last kick inside 50, and Cadman gives them a late game highlight with the mark. He knows time is about to expire, and in the rush, he's missed, as they have so often tonight. And they will walk away from this ground bitterly disappointed. Again, they are such a hard team to get a read on. So much talent. When they're good, they are so very good, as they showed against the Cats and against the Blues in recent times. But when they come up against teams lower on the ladder, they just don't seem to be able to take the points that are on offer. They find themselves battling to stay in the 8 this time of the year. Going to make the second half of the season so very difficult. But a refresh can do wonderful things. Trademark Kenny. You can't quite kill Kenny yet. Port Adelaide get back on the winners list. An upset over the Giants in Canberra. And a month of losing. They were sick of getting the L rather than the W. And so was a gutsy win on a cold night in Canberra.
It's spot on. It's a gutsy win. There's an arm wrestle. It was a real scrap, and they're up for the fight. What like you couldn't say that about them in the recent sort of weeks that they haven't been able to scrap and fight for the full 4 quarters. But tonight, for whatever reason, the mindset was different there. They had the right attitude. They went harder for longer, and they got a much-deserved win.
I always like his coaching, Ken Hinckley's coaching when he hunts the opposition. Let's go downstairs to Alistair Lynch now, who has the victorious coach.
Absolutely, down here with Kenny Hinkley, mate. It's been a long time since you had a win here, and after probably the last month, this will be a pretty proud moment.
Yeah, it is. I'm really excited for the boys. We worked pretty hard over the break and trained really well Saturday and Wednesday this week. Gave us a bit of confidence coming in. Had a real clear plan, thanks to the boys at back office, to make sure we took away some certain things off the Giants, and just really happy for the boys to get a win.
Yeah, it looked like you played the game in the forward half, especially in that second half. You scored heavily from turnovers in that forward half.
Yeah, we didn't score accurately, but we scored, so it was good to keep it in our half. I mean, that's our brand. Most of the time we've been together, so it's just a game we had to win. I think that's really important for us. We go back home now and start to try and build a bit of momentum.
In those games you've got to win, you need your leaders to stand up, and they certainly did it for you today. Zach Butters was incredible in the middle of the ground.
Yeah, he's a pretty good little player. Connor was great. Bergman was great. I mean, there's a lot of good players out there, but it took a whole team tonight to get the result.
We spoke pre-game about the break and reviewing the first half of the season, but how tough is it for you? Did you manage to get a break? Because it's a difficult role all the time, but certainly of late it's been a difficult role for you.
I got a decent break coming, so I didn't need too much.
Well said, Kenny, and congratulations on a fantastic win. Great stuff.
Thanks, man.
Ken Hinkley and his humorous beers. Welcome to the Saturday Debrief, brought to you by the Toyota Tundra. Remarkable power, undeniable presence. David King.
All right, before they get into that, I'm just going to run through the stats and then I'll leave it on the commentary for a little bit. There we go, bad luck, Carly. That's it. I don't think they're good enough this year. Maybe they shouldn't have beaten the Pies by 52 points. Seems like a curse now. I know, can you believe it? It's hard to believe that the Giants 104, Pies 52, open round. The Giants spanked the Maggies. Yeah, that's how things can change. But yeah, the Giants are disappointing. I think the Giants have been disappointing for a long time. That they're supposed to have had star-studded players throughout their list, and yet they still can't get the job done. It's not always about having a team full of stars. It's having a star team, and one who can put the processes out on the ground and play well as a team, etc., like that. Like the Magpies are doing, like Geelong did throughout all their term. They've been doing it for such a long time. But yeah, the Giants have certainly got something missing in their team. Whether it be, look, Toby Green wouldn't have, I don't think, made a difference. Toby Green he'd been doing nothing up until that time he got that corky in his buddy. So I think he'd only had about 3 touches since then. So I don't think Toby Green would have made the difference. It was just, both defences were pretty good tonight. As you can see in the final half. In the final half, the Giants only put on 1 goal 4. In the second half of the Port Adelaide put on 4 goals 5. And at one stage, there was only 2 goals kicked in the second half from both sides in total. So it was a real wrestle arm battle, like a bit of a chess match, as I was saying earlier on. It was hard, but I don't know. I don't know what they got to do to fix up the Giants. I don't know. That's a good question. Maybe maybe they need to actually go out and try and find a quality season. I don't know, star to put in there or something like that. I don't know. They got where was Jake the Package? He plays for the Giants now, doesn't he? Why wasn't he playing? He would have been better to be in a game like this, get him up around middle, around forward. I don't know why he wasn't playing. Hey, let's just have a look at some of the stats. Goal scorer is not going to change much for. He was Ward injured. Yeah, Ward will be out. Well, it's season. It looks like it could be season over for him, and maybe his career just depends how he pulls up if he wants to keep going from his injury last week. Goal scorers this evening for the Giants, 2 to Jake Riccardi, Jesse Hogan. Harvey Thomas came up with 1 with Darcy Jones. For Port Adelaide, Willie Rowley was 2. Ollie Wines, Rose Richards, Moraes, Jackson, Georgiades, Farr were singles. He's injured. Let's see Port's little stats. There we go. He's injured as well. Yeah, he's injured. He's injured. He did, I don't know whether he did his knee or something last week, Callum Ward. So I think he's definitely out for the season. Jake Ward finished both of them. I don't know about it. Oh, you're saying Jake, the package is injured. I didn't hear about that one. Zach Butters, fantastic game there for Port. 32 touches, he topped the table. Really good, 16-16 handball kick. Couple of marks, 7 tackles, 12 clearances, fantastic. Tom Green was pretty good for the Giants, 31. Pretty much the same stats as Zach Butters, 16 kicks, 15 handballs, 11 clearances. Lockie Ash also pretty good with 30. Connor Rose, 28. Lockie Whitfield came into the game a little bit with 24. There we go. Let's just roll on down. Travis Boak, the old boy, 22 there for him. Who else we got there? Let's keep rolling down. Radagalia, 18 there for Port Adelaide. Yeah, look, it was just a tough old match. It was an interesting match, one we don't normally see, that just purely from a couple of teams like these, they're just not scoring goals. That was strange to see, like, 1 goal each for a quarter and a half of football for each side. Normally one side will grab on a few goals and put them on, but definitely not tonight. I think Jesse Hogan was just super quiet tonight. He was just super well held. Although he kicked 2 goals, 1, he made pretty much no impact at all. And of course, they really need him to stand up. All right, hang on a sec. Better turned on. I will get down to the Port Adelaide theme song in just a moment. Willie Rioli's still out there doing a little bit of sing-song. Disposal count, pretty even, just +2. I don't think they're ready just yet. +2 in the kicks, handballs, +4 to the Giants. Inside 50s, both teams had plenty of opportunity, 49-51. Similar there. Free kicks, though. The Giants, 30-16. 30 free kicks to 16, nearly doubling Port Adelaide's. Wow, I can't remember seeing a team have 30 free kicks before. The umpires having a field day out there. Hit-outs, Port Adelaide by 3. 2 in the clearances, all squared centre clearances, stoppage clearances, +2. So, like going through all the numbers, etc., like that, everything was reasonably even. It was just +9 contested to the Giants, +10 uncontested to Port. Turnovers similar. Marks similar. Marks inside similar. 8-11, +3 to Port Adelaide, +2 in marks. Contested marks, +2 to the Giants. And if you have a look at the tackles, not a great deal different there, 75-64. Both teams tackling, both defences holding pretty well. 24 tackles inside 50, 2.5 times the season average for the Giants, which is good. And Port Adelaide go about 30% above average, so fantastic. All right, let me see if this loaded up. That loaded up. Now the Giants, as we can see after this, the loss tonight, they still stay 7th. 28 points, hanging in there. And, of course, Port Adelaide down there on 14th after played 12, 5 wins, 7 losses, 20 points. 2 games plus percentage outside of the 8. All right, let's head back down to the rooms. They're going to have the theme song, and then that'll do for me talking. I'll just leave it on the commentary for a little bit to play. We did, in the chat, get the poll wrong. It was 81% saying the Giants would win tonight. We did get that one wrong, but we'll get it right tomorrow. Don't worry about that. We'll get that right tomorrow. Hey, and in advance, thanks everyone for coming in. We'll see you at the next game tomorrow, but I'll just let this run. We'll listen to a little bit of commentary and some analysis on the game for those wanting to listen to a little bit of that. I'll just stay here and comment to people if they are still having a little bit of a chit chat for another 10 minutes. All right, let's head down to the rooms. The Port Adelaide theme song.
Port Adelaide vision.
sure. But hey, congratulations to Port Adelaide. What a win, breaking that 4-game losing streak, going to Canberra and defeating the GWS Giants by 16 points this evening. Extraordinary win. Great fight back after having to, as you said, Jack, sitting and stewing on that 4-game losing streak during the bye. Let's get into our Ashley Martin turning point. Who's owning this tonight?
Oh, I will. Yeah, I will. It was one of those games, King, where you needed to make the most of your opportunities. And here in Lockie, Midfield just tried to pick off too much. And when you come on a sub, as Mariah said, you want to have an impact. And clearly, he had the opportunity to just pause and go back, but took it and went bang. Put it to a 2-goal margin. It was insurmountable at that point there.
It's the kick that sunk their season. Midfield's kick into the hottest property in town. Central corridor, centre half back. That's a no turnover zone there. You got one of your star factor players, and you commit that sin. 1 point the difference at that stage, and you can just see it broke their spirits. And to be fair, they couldn't get going all night. So it's unfair to nail it to one guy, but you just expect more from Lockie.
We are standing by to take you inside the Port Adelaide change rooms and hear from Zach Butters, who was immense this evening. It's going to be interesting as well. It was great to hear from Ken Hinkley on the field post-game, but perhaps taking his press conference as well as Adam Kingsley. There are massive question marks over the Giants right now. So what have they fallen to? 7 and 6, still in the 8, but are you more concerned with how they're playing, Kingy?
Yeah, they just don't seem to have the assets that they've had in the past. Their ball movement tonight, so they didn't score at all from defensive 50, and they scored 4 times from half back. And you just wonder, where's their punch gone? I mean, we talk a lot about Lockie Ash. He has 30 touches, 2 inside 50s, 1 score involvement. At the other end, you see how Connor Rosé is playing half back. Bit of freedom, bit of dash, bit of class. They're just poles. They were poles apart tonight. They've just been like they've played with a restrictor on all year and had to think about how they're playing, not just play off instinct. And I think it's sort of a real question now. Is this system still matching the best teams? Well, Port aren't the best team today, but I worry about what's happening there right now. I don't think they're playing finals this year. They've been off the pace or off the best teams all year.
You've got a line through them tonight?
Yeah, for me, their season's over.
The tsunami's flattened out.
Well, it's just, the tsunami's too straight. And you look to the players, and we're so lucky that we get access to the players during the game. Sam Taylor said at halftime, we're playing too straight. So this is in the third quarter here. They try and take risks, but there's forcing it, and then there's just booting it for them. So this is in the first 10 minutes of the third quarter, and nothing's changed at halftime. This is not system, this is panic. So the panic there is just a bomb and get it out. Same again here, just panic, get it out. And it forces turnovers, and it gives the opportunity for the Port defence that's set up. And this is the killer, obviously, before Kingy, that we saw from Lockie Whitfield, is there is no angles in the GWS movement. That is Adam.
They do normally take short, sharp angles. They're not a direct-to-goal team. They're an angled team. And that's been their MO all year.
Yeah.
So they do normally play with angles, but for whatever reason, they've been worked out a little bit. I think that when you've got a rusted-on plan, you've got a time frame with that plan before you have to make sort of slight arrangements. We've seen Hawthorn go through fits and starts this year with teams working out how they want to move the ball. I think that's the Giants at the moment, and they didn't adjust.
With angled football as well, which is the Adam Kingsley style that comes from the Richmond Hawthorn sort of family tree of Clarkson and Hardwick, is with angles, you always have the first look, which as soon as the turnover happens, there's always the direct look inside. Then you've got to sort of let the play unfold a little bit to maybe the defence shift, and then there's the late look as well. At the moment, there's no first look, and they are just forcing themselves, or tonight especially, force themselves too straight, and then they were opened up the other way.
We had the conversation this week about Sydney being heartbroken off the grand final defeats. Is there anything sort of spiritual, any sort of hangover, any impact or effect from last year's final series? Brutal results for the Giants. The club that led Brisbane Lions by 40 points, led Sydney at early and late in that game, lost both of those. They could. There's a world where the Giants won the flag last year if that hung on those tight finishes. Is there any chance that could be any sort of impact on them this year, do you think?
I always think you as a player, probably more so when you get to the end of the season, you think about opportunities missed, and they would have thought about that with a double chance. Toby Green getting hurt tonight. Like, if anyone was to spark
them and give them something different. It's their captain, Toby Green, obviously injured with a hip pointer in the first half there. So they didn't have that
spiritual
leader. They didn't have that spiritual leader. They didn't have any of the X factor that we've come to know from the GWS, the Orange Tsunami. It is non-existent at the moment. And I think you're right, King. It's probably them or the Western Bulldogs that make up that final spot in the 8. And at the moment, maybe the Dogs have just got their noses in front.
Interesting point, though, because it sometimes play on your mind, though, when you say you deal with it in the off-season, but when your season's not going according to plan and it's been a bit of a roller coaster ride for the GWS Giants, you start to think about, gee, last year really was
I'll never forget 2018 against Collingwood, the USA chant that's still ringing through my ears, and I'm sure, King, you would have had games like that too, but yeah, you can be a little bit heartbroken sometimes.
Are we thinking heartbroken at round 13?
They've been off all year. They've been off all year. But you think it's more system rather than any sort of spirit?
I just think that when a couple of stars are down, there's not really a lot stepping up. We talk about their small brigade and expect them to get better and better week on week. That was slightly off today, not as clean, not as crisp. It just doesn't look as instinctive as it once did.
But that's the depth, though, which has been frittered away potentially by some of these trades and the raids. You know, Cumming, Peatling, who else am I forgetting? Perriman have been nibbled away. So I think the Giants and their recruiting team are always trying to replace this depth. So that clearly is.
The role play is an interesting one because you think about what especially what the Adelaide boys have done that have gone across. They're not superstars, but they're really important role players. And of course, when you have a lot of high-end draft picks, which the Suns and the Giants have both had access to, is that you still need the glue guys, the guys that make the superstars.
I agree to a point, right? But when is Aaron Cadman going to be the man? Like tonight was a night. Hogan was getting clamped. He needed someone next to him to light up for 10 minutes and just say, "It's all right, I've got this one." And they just don't have that player. Toby was injured, clearly, and even before he was injured, he was just going.
That's a good point.
Hogan goalless last week, I think it was, and just the 2 tonight. Really a non-factor tonight for large periods. So who is the next player to stand up for the Giants is the question, and it's largely unanswered tonight.
So the Giants next head to the Gabba to play the reigning premiers, the Brisbane Lions. So it only gets tougher next week. But we've got to celebrate Port Adelaide a little bit more. They're in the team meeting as we speak. So Zach Butters will join us as soon as Ken Hinkley has finished addressing his boys. But I'm sure he'd be mighty proud right now and is probably singing their praises at the moment with just the kind of gritty performance they were able to produce.
Travelling will do funny things to sides that have got their backs against the wall, and we've spoken about the fact that they'd probably have been mulling over the last month of results and going on the road to what is not a really parochial football town in terms of Canberra can unite a group. And I think what Ken's doing with this, moving his superstars around, having a bit of a look at it, sort of prepping for maybe what Josh Carr could do next year. So I think road wins for teams are so good. They are the things that they're really good memories, and I think this is something that certainly Port Adelaide could look to build on.
And we've been talking about the delay in Messiah Wanganeen-Malira's decision to re-sign at St Kilda, so he may come to a quick decision soon, but at the moment he feels up for grabs, and we've got Adelaide barnstorming to the top. Do we feel like Port Adelaide is a destination club for him, or are they that far behind the Crows? Because they would be trying to win games in the second half of the season to loom as an attractive destination for him, or is Adelaide just clear and obviously the better spot if they can afford him?
Oh, well, you look at what Adelaide are doing, and it's hard to choose Port Adelaide over Adelaide. If the money's the same, effectively it's the same deal. Why would you choose Port?
He did have an acai bowl with Jason.
It must have been a very good acai bowl. Get it.
All the trimmings.
But it does make the second half of the season all the more important for Port Adelaide, doesn't it?
Because he has that absolute class and star factor. He may stay at St Kilda.
You're also wanting Zach Butters to re-sign. I mean, there's
I like what Jackson did some good things tonight as a youngster coming in and kicked a big goal, which was terrific. Moraes, they've got to play Moraes start to finish. Just cut the cord now and let him run and see where the young fella can take you. I think exposing more kids in the back half is important.
We've got Zach Butters.
Oh,
Should we head down into the Port Adelaide change room? Zach Butters has been good enough to join us. Zach, we'll get to the game, but talk to me. What were you thinking when you were all waiting for Willie Rioli and you're trying to sing the song?
Yeah, well, we haven't sung in a few weeks, but it was good to sing it to start off with. But he is known for that, so we have to try to get him to hurry up. But he loves giving back to the fans, and it's something we love about him as well.
How are you feeling, Zach? 4 weeks been a tough month for you. You feel like the world's crashing in on you. They're all coming for your coach, including myself. We're all firing at him, don't worry. How are you feeling after a win like this?
Yeah, definitely. Always good to win, and we're competitors. We love winning. That's why we play the game. And I love nothing more than that 2 hours on the weekend and getting a win and celebrating with my mates as well. But pressure, it's part of footy, and I think during the period I just always thought that it's never as good as it seems, and never as bad as it seems. So stay level, keep working, and it's good to get the result tonight.
There's the 2 hours of the game, and then there's the 10 minutes after. The winner's ache, which you're experiencing at the moment. You've just been in the rooms with Kenny. What's the message that Ken's told the group?
Yeah, just really proud. I thought our pressure was good tonight, especially in the first half, our tackle numbers, and we want to be a tough team to play against, and recently we haven't brought that. So training over the bye was pretty tough, and we got back some players tonight that really helped us, but we got back to work and got back to being a strong side inside, and everyone really buying into that pressure, and we trained it, and it was good to put it out there today.
So how did the coach address it with you then, Zach? How much are you still invested in him? We hear about the connection with Ken Hinkley. Are you still playing for him? Because that really is what it looked like tonight.
Yeah, I love that man. I've got so much respect for him, everything he's done for me, and I'm sure many of the other boys will speak so highly of him as well. But mate, I text him every day about footy, most things, and what we're going to do on the weekend. And when we're watching the footy as well, like watch last night's game, we'll text each other about that. And we both love footy, and we both want to win, and we're both competitors. So we have a really good relationship.
Is he an emoji guy? What's his favourite emoji? Yeah, thumbs up sort of a dude.
Are you a gift guy?
He likes a muscle emoji. I don't have too many muscles, so I tend to steer clear of them ones.
You're the toughest player in the competition, Zach.
And what's the emoji you send back to him?
I always like the tongue out, just a bit of cheekiness.
Very good. I like that.
And the move of Connor Rosie, the captain, to halfback, I'm sure you'd love him right next to you in the engine room, but it feels like a real success.
Yeah, we had a good little Joe in the engine room there, and definitely miss him in there. He's one of my good mates. I love playing with him in there. But I think his ability to go in the back half, and he's good in the air, good on the ground, and really gives a lot of drive and punch. And I think he's able to be a good leader down there as well, and sees the game really well. So he sets a lot of the other boys up and helps the young kids down there as well. So he's doing really well.
That's where all the guns play this time of their lives. You might get down there one day, Zach. I'm not sure. That's where all the fun's had. It's a halfback's world now. You know it.
I like getting inside and win it. Try not to let it get down there. We'll just get to our forwards and try and kick goals. So I'd prefer that.
Can you let us in on the plan a little bit? Because clearly it was to shut down their counterpart. So they didn't score our defensive 50. And I think they scored 3 or 4 times from halfback. Run us through the plan, the pre-game planning.
Yeah, that definitely comes into it. Playing against them for a number of years now under Kingers, they like to slingshot, get out the weak side, really attack you with their. They've got a lot of good ball users and use the ball really well. So you've got to stop their slingshot and not try to let them get to the weak side. But then if you don't do that good enough, they can also cut you up in the corridor and use their forward handball. So they're a good team when you let them be a good team. And if we didn't bring pressure tonight and really play a strong contest game, we would have had a long, hard night. So I think if you can get a few things right, you can really play the game on your terms.
And Zach, I like that you're staying out of trouble, mate. I think you're the most fine player in MRO history. Between you and Toby Green, you could have bought the AFL a house fair income. You're down 50 grand each. So I just like that you're just staying out of trouble in that regard. But then they have taken a hefty whack out of your wage over the journey, mate.
Yeah, I've actually been pretty good this year. Shane Grimm at the club, he normally gives you the phone call on the Monday, and I was nearly about to block his number last year, so haven't received too many this year, so it definitely gives me a bit of a smile.
We've been debating the bye week and obviously mulling over 3 sort of heavy losses for you and the Port Adelaide Football Club. How do you deal with the bye week? The modern day player likes to get away, but do you mull over what's happened and prepare for sort of 2 weeks out, or is it get away from footy, relax, and then come back to work when you need to get back?
Yeah, I think initially when we come off a loss, so the first 24 hours you mull on it, you feel bad for yourself, and I think after that you've got to look and try and get better really quickly and put time into your game. But I took a few days off, really relaxed, and then come back into the club, cracked in on Saturday on the weekend, and us boys had a really good session. I feel like sometimes the break comes at a good time, sometimes it doesn't, but preferably I'd love to just keep playing footy. I hate missing footy and want to just keep competing, but I feel like it actually gave us a little freshen up.
Zach, a serious one. How do you feel when you hear the outside world, the media, the fans coming at your coach?
Yeah, I don't like it, but I also understand the nature it's in, and especially when you have a few losses like that, you open yourself up to it, and it's not just on him as well; it's on us players. We make him vulnerable if we do that as well. So, like anyone, I love the man, and he's like family to me. So, yeah, obviously, I'm not going to like it, but it's also up to me to do something about it and get out there and get wins for us.
He was quite funny post-game. He said he doesn't need a break because he's got a bit of a spell coming up. How do you feel, given how close you are? It's so nice to hear this evening all your texts and how you feel about him. But is it in the back of your mind this season, Zach, that you know it's coming to an end? And that must be pretty sad for you to deal with, but you obviously just want to block it out and try enjoy the last few games with Ken?
Yeah, it's a classic Kenny response as well, the one you just said, Ben. So I wouldn't expect anything else from him. But I think regularly I just say, mate, it's one more, if not many. Let's make sure we leave it all out there and really enjoy him. And that's probably more the language from my end. Like, we've got hopefully 10 games, hopefully more if we can get on a roll. Each and every week I just want to take it week by week and really enjoy it with him and really crack in and show him that I love playing for him and that he's a special part of this footy club.
Good on you, Zach. Appreciate your time post-game and enjoy the trip home. Know you've got those 4 points in the bag.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
We'll get you to half-back one day, mate. We'll get you to half-back one day.
What a star.
He is the star.
Yep.
Is it Ken's best move, do you think, to move Rosie to half-back?
Yes.
Is it the best move, best mag that he's moved?
When was it? It was that
It's a
Hawthorn
brave
game,
move.
wasn't it?
Yeah, it's a brave move to take your captain out of the middle where you think they're going to have the best influence and go to half-back. And when Ken's time does come, I still think there's going to be, for the football nous that Ken's got, and you can hear like chatting between him and Zach Butters and just texting and talking footy a lot, and he's going to be a valuable asset somewhere. It won't be in a senior coaching role, but it could be a really good consultant. I like how Ken thinks about the game, and moves like that show that he's still got it.
Down in Tassie, potentially.
Really?
What's that?
Down in Tassie, could be a Tassie.
Well, you'd have to look at it. He's a very good footy man.
Don't square. You're square. He's square.
Not squaring in my chair.
The Tassie, he would be an asset to any club.
Pardon, what was that?
He would be a asset for the Tassie Footy Club as a coaching director or a footy manager, if that's what he wanted to do.
We've actually had to rejig the rundown a little bit tonight because we do have a special guest joining us a little later on, our very own Matt Nable, who's going down the slide on Monday. He's got a great story. Well, not a great, it's a heartbreaking but inspirational story to tell how MND has impacted his family. But I thought we would move Jay's Q&A up.
Up the batting order.
Yes.
Excellent.
You've been
How do
promoted.
you feel about this?
Well, I've been calling for this.
So basically what you're saying is it's not because of the form of Jay.
We've got a better option.
That's what I
We've got
wanted
a
to make
better option.
abundantly clear, King Kong. Thanks for that.
That's right.
So time to bring up Jay's Q&A, and we thought it was a perfect opportunity to talk about the biggest story in football this week. That was Tasmania.
Yep.
Given we've got one of their great ambassadors here at the desk, and also Alistair Lynch in Canberra, who will cross to shortly. But Jay, take it away. Seg one.
We're going to put the man next to me who's on the Tassie payroll, the ambassador for the Devils, in the hot seat, because right now the 19th licence really hangs by a thread, doesn't it? It's up in the air. I mean, anything could happen with this Tassie election. We're not going to get bogged down in politics because there's one key question, and that is, does the Tassie Devils need a new stadium to live as the 19th AFL club? Because I quote Chris Fagan, he says, this is in the Heraldton this week, just use the facilities that are available in Launceston and Hobart with a longer term plan to build a new stadium. It would be a tragedy, says the Brisbane Lions premiership coach, if the team doesn't go ahead because there wasn't a new stadium when the other football facilities exist. So tell us, Jack Rewald, do the Devils need a new stadium, a $1 to $1.5 billion new stadium to thrive? Because I would say they just need to get the team up and going and play them wherever they can until you get this new stadium, even if it is 5, 10, 15 years down the track.
Well, the answer, Jay, quite simply is yes, because the 19th licence was given and provided to Tasmania on the back that there is a 23,000 roof stadium in Mac Point.
So you'd rather have no team.
Well, that's a hypothetical. I'm saying that it is an absolute guarantee from the AFL and the Tasmanian government in the contract that they assign that has to be delivered. It is a key, if not the most key factor in the team being delivered, so that when it arrives, it can thrive and not be another club that sits lowly down the bottom of the ladder, as we've seen from a couple of the most recent sides that have come into the competition. This is a side that wants to thrive, and all the reports that were done so the task force, the Colin Carter report, every bit of work that the AFL put into it wants the team to thrive.
But what if the other option is no team at all?
There is no other option at the moment because that is the contract.
No, I think I'm with Fags. I think it's ridiculous that you'd rather have not a Tasmanian team if it can't play out of a new stadium. Let it play in Launceston for 10 years. That's not a bad fallback option. If you're talking about the kids and the generations of Tassie kids and what it can mean for this footy heartland state, play them anywhere. Play them anywhere and then sort it out with the government, invest in the stadium over a longer period of time, because at the moment they're on a deadline and at 2028 looks pretty, it doesn't feel like the team's going to get in at this rate at 2028.
Well, they're ahead of the deadline in terms of
There's an election in a month, Jack.
Yeah, and the decision doesn't have to be made until October. So mid-July, I think, is when the slated election is, and we're not going to get into politics, but that is a big part of it. So I understand the hypotheticals, and I understand that you say, well, we want to do this and we want to play wherever we are, but the contract says that it needs to be a 23,000 roof stadium at Mac Point.
But contract aside, do you think that would work? The alternative?
There's no point even thinking about that. I think that I believe that the task force and Colin Carter went round and looked at everything. They looked at Adelaide Oval, they looked at Optus, and they thought, well, if we want this team not to be another handout team from the AFL, we want them to come in and be able to stand on their own feet economically. Like, I can understand that there's it was play at York Park or play at Belrive. Economically, it has to have that in the contract. It has to be a part of the birth of the Tasmanian Devils.
Alistair Lynch is a Tassie Devils director, and he's been listening in from the change rooms there at Manuka Oval. Lynchy, what are your thoughts after hearing Jay and Jack go at it?
I reckon Jack's answered it perfectly. And outside of even forgetting the contract, it is to put a club into the AFL that's going to be sustainable over a long period of time, not be a drain on the other clubs in the AFL and the AFL itself. We have to set it up correctly to start with. And that's everything from player attraction, player retention, and to have the economics to actually sustain an AFL club in Tasmania. It is essential that we have a stadium that can support that for crowds and infrastructure to support the corporates as well. So I think what we've seen is, and we've made a tremendous progress over the last probably 15 months, where it's gone from a business plan to actually being rolled out beautifully, and we've seen at grassroots level, and Jack's been a very important part of this around the state, is we've seen participation in the AFL in Tasmania has just gone through the roof. And this is not just juniors, it's participation at all levels, and so things are actually rolled out. We've got a list management team in place, so we're well down the track with working out the list build rules that should be sorted out in the next few months. So things are progressing nicely, a long way down the track, and as Jack quite rightly says, we're not pushed on times just yet. And Jay, you said there is an election called. I didn't know there was an actually election called at this stage, but that may be the case, but we've still got time.
When you say you've got time, Lynchy, when do you think it will get urgent? Jack's saying you're ahead of time at the moment. Can you see in your mind's eye that there'll be a delay? I mean, 2028 is what we're all charging towards, but it just feels outside looking in that timeline now is unlikely.
No, well, actually, we feel that the timeline is not unlikely at this stage because there's some key dates that we've hit all the way along. So, yes, depending on what happens with the election, but we're still very confident that the process of this, the stadium going through as a project of state significance has been going through Parliament. We still think we can get there in time before the September 30 cut-off. And, I think we're well prepared for that. So I don't think it's a major issue as yet. And I think we just put the head down and keep going as usual at the moment.
So what would you prefer, Lynchy? So if there's no new stadium, would you just be happy to cut ties then with the whole franchise? If at the election the Tasmanian people say they don't want the new stadium, you'd say, well, forget about it then.
Well, I think what we've done over the last 35 years since the Tasmanian team's been put on the agenda is we wanted to build something that actually can be successful. We don't want a club that's going to have the handout to other clubs, because rest assured they don't want that. The AFL doesn't want that as well. So if we're going to have a team, we've got to have a team that's going to compete on the field and certainly be sustainable and compete off the field as well. So I think it's not just a matter of saying, oh, no, don't worry, we'll play down the local oval and not have the infrastructure structure to actually compete. We want to actually compete. We've had 150 years of history, and I think we've put a lot of things in place to actually hit the AFL in 28 and be a sustainable, successful club over a long period of time.
Lynchy, is Jackie Lambie on your Christmas card list at the moment or not?
Well, Jackie is my where I grew up, my local federal member, so I might have to go have a cup of tea with Jackie and have a chat. But no, she's very passionate when she's on your side, and she's very passionate when she's against you too. But yeah, we might need a cup of tea with Jackie, but she's a good representative for that local area.
The background there is Jackie Lambie, the independent, was scathing of the AFL leadership, and she urged the AFL to essentially renegotiate the deal, which is essentially mean drawing up a new contract. She says it's too expensive. We don't need a $1 billion new stadium.
What's your feeling though on the ground in Tassie? I mean, you were in Hobart during the week, weren't you? Do people want this stadium or not? Because I just look I'm flying my WA flag here, and what Optus Stadium has done for Perth has been extraordinary. It's so impressive when you go there to watch sport, but also bringing in other artists and, you know, Coldplay or WWE. I'm not a wrestling person, but it brings so much to the state and seems to be the place to be when you've got such a state-of-the-art facility like a brand new stadium.
Yeah, I think they've been through the rollercoaster, Tasmanians, over the last 15 months. If this election is to be called, which we think it will be on Tuesday, it's the second election in 15 months, and I think Tasmanians are a little bit sick of that. And you're right, this is a stadium that has been linked to the AFL team, but the economic benefit, the social benefit, and the pride as well. That's the thing that gets lost in this, the pride. Now, I've done a little bit of work for the Devils and travelled around, as Brendan Gale has as well. And there is a trait in Tasmania, it's called the bumper sticker, and that is about allowing everyone to have their say. And this is exactly right. This has been 35 years in the making. This is another chance for Tasmanians to have their say. I think it was tough news early on when they said, obviously, that Jeremy Rockcliffe was being challenged. But it's another thing that we will get through as Tasmanians. And when the product hits the AFL, it will be a successful one. I've seen the work that has happened behind the scenes. Brendan Gale is down there as an administrator, as well as Kath McCann, as well as Grant O'Brien as the chairman, and a whole host of people that know exactly what they're doing. So whilst the outside noise here is political, we can't look at that, because if you look at that, all of a sudden you start to worry about the future and you start to worry about whatever. Fundamentally, the job of the Devils is to continue to roll on, to build a side for season 2028. There has been an uptake, as Lynchy's mentioned, in junior footy. My local football club, you can't go and play Auskick there because they're full. And that is off the back of the Devils.
That's why you can play it at the tin shed and it won't matter.
I think it's great that Jack's doing that out of the goodness of his own heart. It's fantastic.
No, keep fighting the fight.
Well done.
And thanks to Alistair Lynch as well for sticking back for us. Cheers, Lynchy.
Thanks, Lynchy.
Have a good night in Canberra.
Good work. No, I will do.
All right, folks, there we go. That was just a little bit of the Tassie Devils, what they were talking about there. But what a fantastic game again tonight. Port Adelaide 9-12-66. Defeating the Giants 7-8-50 by 16 points. Thanks, Carly, for hanging in. Game board, Emmanuel, and everyone else who joined us this evening for the coverage. Certainly appreciate it. Don't forget, tomorrow, folks, we'll cover another game tomorrow. I'm just not sure whether I'll be here for the North Melbourne West Coast game. There's a slight chance, maybe. If not, we'll be back for the Carlton-Essendon game tomorrow evening, 7:15 Melbourne time. We'll cover that one. Should be a ring-a-ding-ding game. Should be fantastic. So we'll definitely look forward to seeing everyone there. All right, folks. Hey, that's all I got for this one. Thanks again, everyone, for joining us, tuning on in. So until tomorrow, the next game, ciao for now. We'll see you at the next game.